pregnancy has a big end yet.
Yeah, yes.
No, it has not. Wait, dude, when do you think pregnancy begins? Does pregnancy begin when fertilization does? Jesse, thank you so much for the $10. I
If it's
appreciate it. Thank you.
successful, yeah.
What? Dude, okay. No, listen.
Like not all
Listen.
like
No, listen, dude. You have no clue what you're talking about. So there's fertilization, and then like 5 to 7 days later, or like 2 weeks even, it can happen. There would then be implantation, which would be the beginning of pregnancy. Okay? So pregnancy doesn't happen for a bit after fertilization, for at least days after.
I guess I see your point, but I think, like I said earlier, if the person can birth the baby healthily, and not die, and the person won't die, and the baby will be fine, I think you shouldn't have the right to get an abortion. That's just my standpoint.
Yeah, again, but you literally, again, I was just asking, you don't value the brain dead individuals enough to say that you can't pull the plug, right? And that's on the basis of the fact they don't have a future subjective experience, right? And then I say, okay, if you then just care about potential. If you care about potential, well, then it would be the case that me engaging with my girlfriend, there's potential there. So if I pull out, is it wrong?
No, but that's like saying I'm not going to have sex with this random woman on the street, and that's wrong. That's your exact same analogy.
But there wasn't active potential. Okay, so there was inactive potential. When you're engaging in intercourse, there is active potential.
Yeah, but that's just. I guess I see your point. But like, that's just like saying.
Can we get some POP in the chat? Pull out Parker in the chat, everyone. What's up?
And that was an active potential. That's just like saying, well, I could have talked to this girl and maybe had sex with her. That's an active potential, and I didn't. And that's wrong. It's not wrong.
Again, that's inactive potential versus active potential. You're arguing on the basis of active potential. No one argues inactive potential. That's why I didn't even relate to the concept, because I know when you're talking about potential, you're talking about active potential. Okay, so again, is it wrong for me to pull out?
Nah, it's not.
No, okay, but it removes the future potential. So again, why would it be wrong to get an abortion the first trimester then?
There was never conception in the first place if you pulled out.
Again, okay, so does there have to be conception and future subjective experience?
I think, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so why conception specifically and future? Because I would say that there needs to be past or present subjective experience and future subjective experience. Whereas you're saying life and future subjective experience.
Conception is the ultimate start of a possible, subjective experience. Like me and you
actually, Big Joe, let me just ask you this question. Okay. I have a petri dish. I cause a zygote by putting a sperm into an egg, causing fertilization. Okay. There's a zygote, a human life, single cell organism on the table. If I slap the petri dish and I break it and I kill the zygote, should I go to jail for first-degree murder?
Well, with the scenario you described, there could have never been the birth of a child in the first place.
No, but it's a human life.
That would have never happened. You said something about like a dish, right?
Yeah, a petri dish, and this does happen. There's a petri dish, IVF, right? In vitro fertilization. I cause the beginning of that human life, right? And then I slap the zygote.
Mm-hmm. Was there possible subjective experience?
Yeah, if it's implanted to a uterine wall, yeah.
A human can form and talk and.
It is, yes. It's a zygote.
I don't know. It's a hard one. I think. Yeah. I don't think you would have the right to do that now.
No. So I should go to jail for first-degree murder.
I don't know. I don't. That's for me. That's a gray area. I don't know fully, but.
So some murder should be legal?
Murder definitely is illegal. Murder should be illegal.
So murder should be illegal in all circumstances. So it's either you don't consider this to be murder. So you don't consider this to be murder, essentially.
I don't know, but I think it's.
Or you think I should go to jail?
I think in some circumstances, murder is like if someone breaks into your house with a gun. I think it's.
No, in this scenario where I slap the zygote, it's either not murder or I go to jail for first-degree murder. Which one is it?
I don't know. That's a hard one. That takes like thinking.
So if it's not murder, well then it seems like you then have to change your standard. If it is murder, then I should go to jail for the rest of my life because I slapped a zygote. A single cell organism on the table. I slapped it. A single cell organism. And I should go to jail for 40 years? First degree murder?
Do people do this? Like, is this a thing?
You can do it, yes. Because if you're causing in vitro fertilization, you can slap a zygote. Absolutely. I would see no issue with you slapping the zygote. I'd be like, what are you doing? Right? Sure, that doesn't make any sense, but there's nothing morally wrong there. They slapped the zygote. It's a single cell organism. Okay? But you think it's murder. You think I should go to jail for 40 years.
Bro, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
That's a pretty big question, man. Either you literally concede the standard that it's murder, or you say that I go to jail, and it doesn't sound like you want to say I go to jail.
I just said I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Typically, when it's murder, you can figure it out pretty quickly. But sure, I mean, if you don't know, that's fine. That's respectable. But you should probably think about it.
Yeah, I gotta look into this. So people, can you like do this like at your house?
You have to have the stuff to be able to do it. Do you have sperm? Do you have an egg? Do you have a petri dish? Do you have the capacities to be able to cause fertilization? I doubt it.
Artificially make an egg that can conceive human life.
Google IVF. Just go Google IVF. Just look up in vitro fertilization, and you can look at a video. Right. You'll be able to visualize it. It'll make more sense.
Okay.
Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree. If you want to support me, Venmo, Cash App in the bio. Let's get to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you think that I was gonna say only send a guest request if you think I should go to hell. If you think that abortion is wrong in the first trimester, everyone. Let's go into the next individual real quick. Please only send a guest request if you think abortion is wrong in the first trimester. All right, I didn't accept this individual. We're going to try the next. Please only send a guest request if you disagree, y'all. We are just looking for some debates. Let's get this next individual up here. You are absolutely clueless. We'll send a guest request, Rain.
Hey,
what's up? How old are you?
I'm 21.
For sure. Do you think abortion is wrong in the first trimester?
Yeah, because if you believe that life begins at conception, then logically it's wrong in the first trimester.
Well, I believe life is, Light, thank you so much for the $20. I appreciate it, Light. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I do think that life begins at conception. I don't think it's murder, though. So why is it logically entailed?
So I think that's where I'm confused. Is it if you believe it's life at conception, then if you're basically ending the development of the baby continuing until its birth, then
it's not a baby. You think a single cell organism is a baby?
I mean, it's in development as a baby, yes.
So it's a baby. The zygote's not developing yet, but...
I mean, when it's in the womb, yeah.
Well, we're talking about before the womb. This is because we're talking about conception, right? Conception is before pregnancy.
I mean, whatever you want to call it, baby, zygote, embryo,
you would call a single cell organism a baby?
I mean, that's what it is, yeah.
Really? Okay, so really, I'll show you a picture of a zygote, and you're gonna tell me that this is a baby. This is a baby?
Okay, wait. Just because it looks like that doesn't mean it's not that.
This is
so like
no. We had to use a microscope. This isn't a microscope. Okay. This is a baby.
Of course, it's a baby. I mean, might not be. Of course, it is. I mean, just because it looks small and it looks insignificant to you.
A single cell organism. It's literally like a microorganism.
I understand how it looks, but that doesn't mean any less
how
value.
It looks? No, it is a microorganism.
Okay, sure, it's a microorganism, sure. Just like we all are, and we all have separate DNA. I mean,
we're not microorganisms.
At one point we were.
Okay, sure. At one point we were zygotes. Okay.
So again, my question was, if you believe if life begins at conception, then how do you believe it's not wrong to end the development of that life? So let's stay away from the whole zygote, embryo, baby terminology. Let's get to the conclusion that you believe it's life. So if you believe it's life, how is it not a form of murder to say? How is it not murder?
Because it's not unjustified. It's not a person.
How is it not a person?
It's not a person until it reaches the stage of sentience, which would be subjective experience, which I would see to be classified around the 18 through 26 week in utero.
So conscientality is your definition of what makes someone
subjective experience, which is like your awareness, your ability.
So
to
someone has to be aware in order to be alive, is your conclusion?
No, right? You be there's cellular life and then there's sentient life. So in order for them to have sentient life, they would have to be able to produce these particular parts of the brain, right, that are working in tandem, right, to be able to produce this. So people in comas, right, have prior, like past subjective experience, and they have future subjective experience. They still get granted rights under my view.
Okay. I'm sorry to cut you off. So that's a really good point that you mentioned. What about someone specifically who went through like a traumatic experience, went through is going through a coma, and they have some form of an amnesia where they have past amnesia, where they're not going to have their past experience, they won't remember their past experiences because there's not going to be, there's not like a potentiality.
There's not going to be ability to experience in the future.
Exactly. There's not going to be.
Yeah, but they're cellularly alive.
I understand, but I don't base my, my beliefs on someone being alive necessarily because they have cellular activity. I think it's just like, conception, sperm egg meeting, that's, we're alive, essentially.
That's cellular life. So if you don't just base it on cellular life, then I don't see why a zygote would have that value. Because a zygote, 75% of them are not going to even be able to implant into the uterine wall. So they have a very low likelihood of actually leading to like a pregnancy and human life, human sentient life. So if you're talking about future subjective experience, it seems like a zygote wouldn't really have that much value.
I mean, again, I don't really base it on experience. I base it on the potentiality of, reaching at a certain point where development is happening. And at one point, obviously whether you believe they're not a baby at the time, they're going to be a baby. So personally, I base it on two frameworks. It's conception and the potentiality of, having the ability to live on your own. So I think that's what makes somebody alive. So like, for example, a lot of people bring up the argument of, so if I masturbate and what about my sperm cells? Does that mean I'm like killing children? Not necessarily, because sperm and egg need to meet in order to, be a baby. And that is the potentiality to actually being, alive if you don't believe it's alive right now. So if you just leave it in its like natural process,
I could just ask this, like, yeah. So if I'm having sex with my girlfriend, right? Mm-hmm. If we just keep going, right, there could be a kid, right? Is it wrong for me to pull out?
I mean, no, it's not wrong for you to pull out.
But that's limiting a future subjective experience.
No, because you didn't. Again, I base it off two frameworks. I think you're only basing it off one of my frameworks. Is that
so? You do life and future subjective experience.
I'm sorry?
So life and future subjective experience.
Correct.
Okay.
I think if you do one, it's too little. And then if you do more than that, then it's too much, because then you run into the risk of, so for example,
Well, no, hold on. Let me describe my point. So my point is that I do use two qualities as well. Mine's past or present and future subjective experience. So why do you put life as your first quality and then subjective experience as your second quality, given the fact that if you value the second quality as future subjective experience, right, then why wouldn't you value the idea in which there's past or present subjective experience?
I just don't think that subjective experience is a necessary requirement for someone to being alive. So like, for example, people with Alzheimer's.
I'm not saying that they're not alive. And
No, no,
also,
I
people who have
understand. No, no,
Alzheimer's,
no.
they still are sentient.
No, I understand what you're saying with memory and all that. But what I'm saying is, so for example, someone with Alzheimer's, going back to my point, um, they don't. I mean, sure, they have subjective experience, but they're not really there. I mean, you talk to them, and they really don't know who you are. But that doesn't
They're
mean that
still
they're any
valuable. They have
less
subjective experience. Yeah, I don't know why you're using that as an argument when you've also agreed that they have subjective experience.
I mean, subjective.
Consciousness into like a simulation.
No, I haven't.
So it's about essentially they put their consciousness into a simulation, right? They feel things exactly the same way we do. Everything feels the exact same, but there's no biological life left, right? Everything feels the exact same. Is it just as bad to torture them in the exact same way in that simulation as it would be outside of the simulation? Again, torturing them in the exact same way. Would it be just as bad?
Sure.
Okay. So then that would mean we have a kind of like an equation. Sentience plus life is equivalent to sentience, which essentially just dictates the idea that life in of itself is worth zero value because sentience in of itself is equal to sentience. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because in one episode, there's not life, and the other one, or not episode, in one scenario, there's not life, and the other one there is, yet they're both viewed the exact same. So they're equal.
And I think that's an interesting take. I'd probably want to see that episode myself. It
is like an interesting episode outside of the context of the whole debate.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds interesting. And also before I leave, I'm seeing like a lot of comments of like, that I want to tell women what to do with their body. That's not at all the case. I mean, legislatively, I don't know where we should go with this. But at the same time, I don't believe that a baby is a woman. The woman's body, it has a separate DNA. It's separate from the mother. But that doesn't mean I have any take on what we should do legislatively. And I think we as a people in the majority only have the good brains of our consciousness to really, see where we should go with that. But yeah, I don't want it to seem like I'm offending anybody. So yeah.
Sure. All right. I appreciate you coming up. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, let's go on to the next person. Please only send a guest request if you disagree. By the way, everyone, hypotheticals are just need to be logically possible. If you want to support me, Venmo and Cash App in the bio as well. Tap that screen, everyone. Let's try to run it up to 500,000 likes, y'all.
Where'd it go?
Yo, what's up,
Hi. Hey, what's going on?
You do not seem old enough.
I'm 18.
All right, what's your birth year?
August 27, 2005.
For sure. Okay, go for it. Do you think that abortion is wrong in the first trimester?
I do.
Why so?
I actually have a couple reasons. So the first thing is, multiple times since we've been on here, you've been talking about zygote, and the funny thing is, you keep saying it like it doesn't exist. Like you're talking about it because you're saying it like almost like it's a Pokemon. Like this word zygote is like this like thing, but actually the word zygote, if you look it up, it's Latin, meaning the word offspring. And offspring is what someone would refer to their child as. So the word offspring, or that might I just don't understand why. You think that...
Wait, why is there 08 in your bio, in your name?
A what?
Why is there 08 in your name?
Because that's my birth month. August. It's the 8th month in the year.
I don't believe you, to be honest. I don't believe them. That's fucking crazy. Yeah, hell no. Let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree. That's fucking crazy, chat. That's crazy. The 08 and the bio really got them. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Oh, I'm 35.
For sure. Do you think abortion is wrong in the first trimester?
I don't, but you can kick me out. But I just have something to say very quickly. And this is coming from a nursing perspective. Literally 30 seconds and kick me out. You don't have to say anything. Yes. Okay, great. So I think a lot of people think that we live in a vacuum. And I don't think that people understand that the reality is, I don't think people have seen like meth babies, crack babies, and the heart, like they're literally going through withdrawals, they're stressed, they're not even able, they're able to stand within like days. This is something that the babies are able to do in like 12 months. And then I just feel like when it comes to pro-life, I think I need to see people advocate for the life that we have here, that exists right now. So it's the life that like parenting, marital maternity leave, paternity leave, things like that, because like there's no reason why I need to see someone being forced to have a child when they don't want them. That's all I have to say, but thank you. I love your life.
For sure. Appreciate you coming up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree. We are just looking for some debates. Please only send a guest request if you disagree. Let's try to get to the next person up real quick. Tap that screen, everyone. Let's try to run up to 500,000 likes. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
19.
What's your birth year?
2004.
For sure. Do you think abortion is wrong in the first trimester?
I believe that you're asking the wrong question. I mean, really, why are you engaging in sex if not reason to have a baby?
What? Dude, every single time I've engaged in sex in my life, I promise you, I've not wanted a kid.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you. Why are you having sex then?
Pleasure or expression of love.
All right. Okay, so you just said you have sex for pleasure. Do you see how chasing pleasure has led to so much problems? Like
I don't think me chasing pleasure in terms of having sex with my girlfriend is going to lead to the degradation of society. I think there's no issue with that.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you're on here on a live with 4,000 people watching, and you're talking in a way that's encouraging that abortion is right. And then
abortion is right. I think it's morally neutral to get an abortion prior to sentience. That you can, yeah, it's your choice to get an abortion.
I mean, I mean, it's your choice, but that doesn't make it right. But again, I mean,
it doesn't make it wrong either. What's the reason why it's wrong?
It's wrong because it's murder. It's as simple as that.
You're saying it's murder. That's you presupposing that it's wrong. Why is it wrong?
Because, like you said, the moment that the sperm hits an egg, it's
I have a question. Do you eat food for pleasure, or do you eat food only for nutrition?
Both.
Okay, well then can't I do the same thing?
Now, hold on.
Like you can engage in sex for reproduction, and you can also engage in sex for pleasure.
Okay. Do you see like your hypocrisy in that statement? Eating food, you don't see anybody going on lives. You don't see laws or people writing over, oh, eating food is bad because it's pleasure or this and that. But you're having sex for pleasure, right? Not for
sex isn't bad just because it leads to pleasure.
Listen, you're chasing pleasure, and all these problems are are caused just because you want to feel good in that moment.
Do you have sex?
It's as simple as if
Ian,
you don't
sex?
want to have a baby. If you don't want to have a baby,
Ian,
you don't
have
have sex. Absolutely, yeah.
Did you want to produce a kid?
No, but I'm also a saved man now. I'm completely different than how I was.
Okay, so you've never had sex since you've been saved?
No.
Never?
Never. Swear to God.
Okay, for sure, man. So you would never do it again?
Not until I'm married, no. Me and my girlfriend have been together for 20 months on December 3rd, and we have not had sex. And
hey, good for you, man. Woo, good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So like again, I don't see any reason why sex before marriage is wrong.
I just told you. You just said that you're doing it for pleasure, and then look at how all these people are divided and are rioting and causing all these problems between each other.
Me having sex with my girlfriend causes riots.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dude, get a grip.
Dude, you get a grip. You're sitting here saying that
me having sex with my girlfriend is not causing any riot.
When a sperm hits an egg, you're saying it's life, right? And then saying that it's okay to abort it because it doesn't have consciousness.
Because it doesn't have sentience. Yeah, there's no. Okay, do you think it's wrong for a family to pull the plug on an individual who's brain dead?
Yes, it's not their choice whether he lives or not. That's in God's hands.
Okay, so do you think that a family should be legally obligated to pay up to $7,000 a day to keep them on life support?
I mean, if so be it, then yeah.
$7,000 a day? Fuck, dude. For a non-sentient individual?
Yes.
That's wild, bro.
Well, I mean, it's God's taking care of them, and they should pray and guidance and what to do in a situation like that for whoever that occurs to.
Okay, man. Okay, we'll keep asking.
And also, hold on. I'm sorry to keep saying hold on. I don't want to interrupt you, but I also want to say one thing. I'm seeing lots of comments that say that a man has no right to say and whether a woman has an abortion or not. Until a woman can have a baby on your own, you can't say that. It takes two to make a child. When those two choose to make a child,
I think you can have like a general opinion. I don't think that if you had a girlfriend that you got pregnant, that you should say like you should have any say over whether or not she gets an abortion in that scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because I took part in the reason that she's pregnant.
No, it's her body. It's literally her body.
Okay, you think my egg going in her? You think that's part of her body?
Your egg? Okay. You mean your sperm?
No, let's go by your logic.
What do you mean your egg, logic, bro? I can't.
No, hold on. Let's go by your logic. You're saying that baby is hers because it's in her body. So that means every single one of us. No.
I'm saying that she has no. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, Ian.
No, that's what your logic leads.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yes, it does, buddy. It's as simple as that.
I'm not saying they're the same. What I am saying is that they have a right to do what they want with their body as it relates to whether or not they want to keep the fetus prior to sentience.
They don't have a right to kill the baby. They have a choice. They have free will.
They have a right and a choice to unalive the baby prior to sentience, and I have no issue with that.
I mean, you're on the wrong side of every topic. I don't understand.
You're on the wrong side of every topic. You think Christianity is true. You think women should be forced to go through pregnancy as it relates to abortion.
I know it's
You're probably a Trump supporter. You probably think Trump is still president.
I don't care about who's in office because we're all going to come to the same end anyway. I mean,
did you vote for Trump?
I have not voted a single time in my life.
Would you vote for Trump?
What? No, I just told you.
Okay, good. At least okay.
I wouldn't vote for Biden either. But like I just said, global warming shouldn't be a problem because I mean we're getting closer to the sun anyway. Everything's going to get hotter.
Global warming shouldn't be a problem. Oh my God, dude. So we have a very clear evidence to indicate that climate change is caused by humans. Okay. We have very, very good evidence. You can look at nasaclimate.gov, right? And you can see specifically like all of the very clear evidence. 97% of climate scientists agree that climate change is caused by humans. Are you disputing the 97% of climate scientists in which have formed a scientific consensus?
Your first problem right there is believing something that's just stated on NASA. You cannot believe everything.
There's evidence. There's evidence. There's legitimate evidence.
You think that evidence? You think
they cite the evidence?
There's okay. Cigarettes came out and they thought it was healthy. You know, back then.
They didn't have evidence to substantiate that was legitimate.
Okay, and the evidence that they have now isn't legitimate.
The evidence they have now is legitimate. You can conduct it yourself.
Anyway, back to the topic. I mean, is abortion wrong? I mean, if that's the question you really want to ask, then yes. I mean, it's absolutely wrong. But
is someone who has an IUD a murderer?
Yeah, and I think somebody who takes birth control is a murderer. I think someone who and just like you may mention, well, why wear
my girlfriend's a murderer? Yeah, that doesn't even kill a human life. It literally just prevents It literally just prevents fertilization.
Okay, but how does it prevent fertilization? It keeps the eggs from going down from your sperm hitting her or hitting the egg.
Oh my God, bro! You need to. Okay, so birth control specifically.
Don't say "oh my God" if you don't believe in Christianity. And I've heard you say multiple times as well. I'm agnostic.
Oh my God, bro! I'm using it in like not a literal context.
Okay, but you say I've heard you say multiple times. I want to believe that there's a God. If you truly want to believe in your heart, why don't you just pick up the Bible and read it?
I have a Bible. I've read it.
Have you read the whole thing and took in what it's trying to say to you?
100% of it.
No, you haven't.
How do you know?
Because if I knew that you truly understood it, then you wouldn't even be on here asking why is abortion wrong during the first trimester.
Really?
If you read it,
I will actually, Ian. I promise you, I have a friend who's an atheist, right? Who knows more about the Bible than you. I promise you that.
Probably.
All right, I promise you, and he would agree with me. So don't act like Bible knowledge changes anything, because I promise you, he knows way more about the Bible than you. I probably might know more about the Bible than you.
Okay, whether then you know more about the Bible or not, I mean, I know that. I mean, again, I've been on here before, and I plan on coming on again. You know, I mean, as long as you'll let me, I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah, Ian, I'd love to have a conversation about the Christianity stuff with you. So I will follow you back. We can talk about that.
Okay. I bought a book and I've already filled up a couple pages, and You asked me a great question. Why am I a Christian? And I'm going to try my best to answer that in a way that can persuade you and help you understand why. Because like I told you when I first joined your life, I want to see you in heaven, man. I truly do. I really want to. And I've watched a few of your lives where I've seen you talked about Trump, and then you talked about, I think it is being gay wrong, something along the lines of that.
Why is being gay wrong? Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like I could give you, or I could help guide you in the answers to all that, you know? I mean, it's one thing for me to tell you about Christianity and God, right? But you're going to have to take it on your own behalf, and you're going to have, you know, God's going to have to help you believe that. You know, I can't change you on my own.
So why doesn't God help me?
He will. I know he will. You don't know it now, but he's going to. I promise you.
All right. I'll look out for that, man. But let's go back to the abortion part. So you do think they're murderers, okay? Do you think someone who is raped should be able to get an abortion?
No.
No. So,
no, I mean,
what about a 9-year-old that got raped?
No. I mean, it's as simple as murder is wrong. Killing a life is wrong.
A 9-year-old who got raped should not be able to get an abortion?
Yeah, like the other person said, you just put them up for adoption. It's as simple as that. And and you may
what do you
bring
mean
up,
as simple as that? They're a 9-year-old, my guy. They're literally a 9-year-old.
Okay.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You said that okay, like so, like they're in fourth grade, bro.
If they have the ability to get pregnant, do you not think that they could continue with the birth?
What about if the 9-year-old will die?
If the 9-year-old dies? Well, I mean, then that's what happens. I don't think that we should make those choices. You know, I don't think that we should take life. And again, you're asking the wrong questions. You know, you have these preset of questions to ask someone in order to make them look stupid. Again, you need to ask the question and really think about it. Why should you have sex?
Wait,
unless reason to have a baby.
Hold up. So you think a 9-year-old should have to literally risk their life, should have to die for the fetus? So both of them will essentially die in that scenario.
Okay.
Are you kidding? You think you think a 9-year-old should be legally forced to do that? That's crazy, bro. That is actually wild. That's actually wild. I have a friend who wants to ask you a question, but that is actually so wild. That is actually crazy, dude.
Sorry, I have to ask because I rarely meet people like this. So Ian, there was a case in Ohio last year where a 9-year-old was raped, and she had to travel to Illinois. Well, actually, first it was Indiana, but then Indiana passed the abortion ban to Indiana to get an abortion because the pregnancy would kill her. Mm-hmm. I want to hear it from you because this is a real life example. It's not a hypothetical. It's a real life example. You're saying that 9-year-old girl should have died simply because throughout no fault of her own, she was raped by a 30-year-old man.
Okay. First off, let me put it like this. If that 9-year-old dies, the 9-year-old's probably not old enough of an age to truly understand right from wrong. That 9-year-old's going to go to heaven. So when she dies and goes to heaven, she's going to be way better off.
No, Ian, I'm cutting you off because
we're doing that person justice.
No, you're not. I have to say this, Ian. I have to say this. You do not know that child's going to heaven. You don't know if there is a heaven. You don't know if there is a God. You might believe there is, but you don't know that. You are literally taking.
You don't know that there's not. I mean,
yes, you're right. I don't know
something that there's no proof that exists.
You're right. I do not know that there.
I know there's not. Fuck.
Yeah, but you're telling me what I'm hearing from you, Ian, right? Is that you're saying that you will risk the life of somebody else that you're not connected to, especially a child, the most innocent of innocents, through the fault that they had no fault of their own, through this act. You're saying they should die.
I mean, why does it have to be restated so many times? I've put where I stand on the situation. Like you just said, innocence of innocence. If they're innocent, they're going to heaven.
It's such an outlier position. Even the most pro-life of pro-lifers do not believe that. I have met many in my life, and not even those people
This is literally the first time I've ever heard this.
Yes, like you are in such the extreme of the extreme that every single organization out there that promotes the sanctity of life would disagree with you.
Okay, again, I mean, if I sat here and spent hours of my time putting a preset of questions to make someone contradict themselves or put themselves, like you just said, in that outlier situation, I'm sure I could ask you lots of questions that would make you look like a fool, make you look stupid.
No, please,
Go for it. Try it. I literally go live for 6 hours every single day.
I just said if I spend
hours, spend all the time you want. I will give you literally money if you can.
Okay, then I mean that's what I'm doing now, Parker. And you're a very smart person. And I think if you took the knowledge that you have now and put it towards finding God, you would be a very good Christian.
By the way, I was that person. By the way, I was that person. By the way, that was me. Right? I was an evangelical. I learned the ancient languages because I wanted to learn the languages of God. I wanted to read God's word. I wanted to know as much as I could. And I left the faith because I learned so much. It's because of the knowledge that I learned of why I left.
Okay, then
because
you weren't truly ever saved.
The less you understand about how human it is.
Yeah, you were never truly saved then. You were to see.
Okay, yes, I've heard that all my life about people, Christians, who believe that.
And I'm sure if you've read the Bible, then you've heard, the verses about a man that is in the light and then chooses to go back is worse off.
Yes, he was never actually in the light before. Yes, I understand that.
No, never actually.
I understand that argument, and that is an argument used by Christians to shut down debate because you do not want to challenge me on my actual beliefs that I held time. You don't want to ask me what it was about the Bible that caused me to leave. You don't want to ask me that question. You just want to say, you're not really.
I mean, that question didn't come to my head, so I'll ask you. Why did your faith leave God? Why did you stop believing God?
Okay, well, at first, I left my evangelicalism because I recognized how human the Bible was. I recognized how much history.
Hold on, I don't know these big words, and I know y'all use.
Before we get into the Bible, because I would love to have a conversation about the Bible. Ian, you can come up for this specifically, right? I want to specifically address the fact that you said that a 9-year-old should have to give up the fact.
Yeah, that's the primary reason why I came up. Because
I want to address
this. Is a real life example.
If it was your daughter, Ian. Would you say that your daughter has to give up her life?
I just told you. Based on
what biblical basis, Ian? What biblical basis do you get to say that the 9-year-old should die over this? Because if you
why are you asking me that if you've studied the Bible and been a person?
No, that's not true. You would know that Jewish law.
It literally says thou shalt not kill. So you don't take it upon yourself to make that choice. And again, like I said, you believed in heaven at some point. So if that 9-year-old was to die, you're not doing any harm to them. They're in a way better place than they are now.
Because I have met children that have died at a young age, right, from things that are not their fault. And even then, I asked God, why did this happen? And I got no response. I still believed, but I asked God whenever a child dies, whenever I had tragedy in my life, I asked God why. Okay. And guess what? Nothing came to me. There was no signs. There was no intervention, nothing. So I have seen it personally in my life. And what I'm telling you is that
I have had 2 brothers that have died. 2 of them. But there has been so much good that has came from them, and I know they're in a better place now, and I know that I'll meet them again.
Ian, I'm sorry, but
at the time of their death,
you do not know that. I know you want to believe that, but I'm sorry, but you do not know that. I do not know that my grandmother, who I love,
you don't know that there's not a God. You don't know that there's not a God. So just as you're telling me that you don't,
Ian, I do know that your God does not exist, and we can have that conversation. I would love to. I do.
Absolutely. Okay.
The problem of evil, the problem of heaven, right? We can go through those right now, and I can show you how your God doesn't exist.
All right. Okay. Anyway, we'll talk about that here in a second, and I'll see, as what I can say to that, because like I said before, I just bought a book and I'm filling it up because I want to try and persuade you and bring you to the light. But anyway, he was talking and I kept interrupting him, so go ahead.
No. I'm not going to get on the God topic anymore, so I'm going to move past that. I still want to stay on the abortion thing. Because my question is very simple, right? You are saying, now, okay, let me ask this separate question. Are you saying that belief of yours, that the 9-year-old, I don't care how old they are, right, should die if it's, rather than a child, right, that should be codified into law?
Yeah, I think it should be a law that there is a law. There's a law that you shouldn't kill, but they don't.
No. There's laws. There's laws for self-preservation and self-defense. The reason why the Catholic Church, the most conservative on this issue, allows for women to get abortions in the case of medical treatment is because it is they use the doctrine of self-defense because the fetus is what's killing them.
You just brought up Catholic, and Catholic is not of the Bible. Catholic. Okay. There's so many things that are wrong.
I don't want to have to defend Catholics here.
Catholicism.
I'm not a Catholic. I don't want to have to defend them. Catholics are Christians, just as you're a Christian. I'm not going to say that people who profess their love and belief in Christ are not Christians. They are Christians, just like you, just like I was way back when. That's how it goes. But what I'm saying is their position on this, right? They believe that abortion is wrong in every single case except for self-defense. That is when the fetus is killing the mother.
Okay, I want you to pull up in the Bible where it says that it's okay to kill someone in self-defense. Because
Wait, if someone is graping like your wife, right? Do you have the ability to defend them?
Yeah, I wouldn't kill them, but I'd stop it.
Okay, but you can't assault them, right? Assaulting is still bad, right?
Assaulting?
Yeah, hitting someone is bad.
I'm not. It doesn't. I'm not going to kill them. No.
So, but if you hit them, that's still bad, right?
Okay. Again,
I don't think it's bad. That's self-defense. But you're saying any action is bad, right?
No. Did I ever say any action is bad? I said
no. Any action. I meant any action, like in response, like hold up. Let me clarify, right? Like you think taking the life. So the intent of taking the life is a bad thing because
not the intent, actual taking of the life.
Yeah, the taking of the life is a bad thing, right? Because taking a life is a bad thing, right? And just because someone is going to kill you doesn't give you the justification to kill them. Is that your view?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if someone's risking your life, you don't have the ability to fight back?
The Bible actually says the opposite. It says that, us Christians, we are going to come to a point where we're going to get killed for believing in Jesus just as Jesus was. Because it says that the servants of the master.
And you can't defend yourself.
The same as do what?
And you wouldn't defend yourself.
No. If
someone's going to kill your wife,
would you? To my head and
the only way that you could save your wife's life is by unaliving them. Would you do it?
No. Okay. No. That's what I was going to say.
No.
Is if someone? Okay.
What
Go
the
ahead.
hell is wrong with you, dude? Like,
go ahead.
You were talking about your wife, dude. You're literally talking about your wife.
I wasn't talking about my wife. You said. I said the Bible says the opposite about defending yourself. It says that, if someone held a gun to my head and said, do you believe in God? Or if you say no, you live. If you say yes, and you die. I'm going to say yes, because I'm going to die believing that God's real. If I say no, it says in the Bible that, they're going to deny me in front of his Father. Jesus is going to deny me in front of his Father.
Hold on. That's not the same, though, right? Are you saying that his commandment in Matthew 5 to turn the other cheek is literal in the sense that in all cases you should turn the other cheek, meaning that no matter there's no case. No. What I'm asking you is there any case at which Jesus would allow you to have self-defense? Meaning that you can protect your life or the life of somebody else.
Let me ask you this. You pulled up in the book of Matthew, as Jesus was getting arrested, Simon Peter pulled up his sword and cut an ear off one of the servants. And while Jesus was being taken away by those soldiers, told him, put down your sword, and said that, I'm Jesus, I could bring down...
Wait, I have a question. Before you do you think any abortion is permissible?
I don't even know what permissible means, so can you...
Like allowed. Do you think any abortion should be allowed?
No.
Okay.
Is that not clear?
So what about the one in the Bible that says that you should drink bitter water if you find out that your wife cheated on you? That you should drink bitter water to induce a miscarriage.
There's one verse that you just quoted to me. You can't go by one verse of the Bible. You have to have context around it to fully understand.
Numbers 5.
Numbers 5. Okay, hold on. I can't. I'm not going to be able to study it and give you an answer to that. But hold on. Do you know that verse, Parker? Because I'll write it down and I'll study it.
Numbers 5, verses 11 through 31.
Okay, Numbers 5, verses 11 through 31 of chapter 1.
No. Chapter 5.
Okay,
Numbers 5. Numbers chapter 5. Thank you for the heart. Chapter 5 verses 11 to 31.
All right. Okay. I'll definitely study that, and I'll give you an answer at some point. It may not be the next time I'm on the live. Actually, you know what? Yeah, it will be. Because
Okay. I can also talk a little bit. I'm not sure if it directly relates to abortion per se, but because I'm being honest with you, I don't know if the scholarship points that way, but we'll just say that. But even back to like this, I'm not understanding. Are you a pacifist?
I don't know what a pacifist is.
Meaning that you do not partake in any violence related to a human being. You don't self-defense, no violence at all. You are completely against violence.
Yes. Since I've been saved, I haven't been in
So you wouldn't use violence to stop the guy from raping your wife. You wouldn't do that?
Okay, again, see. Now, do you feel better about
yourself? Of course you would use it. Of course you would use violence. Come on, be fucking for real. Be fucking for real.
Okay, be fucking for real. You're claiming that conception, as soon as it happens, it's life, but yet it's okay to kill them. It's okay to abort it.
And in fact, I have biblical justification for that. The reason why Jews. No, it's all right. The reason why Jews, for example, are okay with abortion is because they believe that their Tanakh, the Old Testament, that their Tanakh, God implants the soul at first breath.
All right,
not at conception, and not right. And if we understand that, Jesus himself doesn't talk about when life first starts. If he talks about it at all, he talks about it in the context of Adam in Genesis chapter 2, when God breathes life within into Adam.
Okay, you just brought up a good point that I didn't even think about. What is Numbers in the Old Testament or the New Testament?
Oh, Old Testament. It's
okay,
in the,
there you go. There you go. The Old Testament also says that an eye for an eye.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. But
so there you go.
That tells you right yes, there. I understand that. But what I'm asking
you, by that. You live by the New Testament, by the new covenant that Jesus put down when he came here and died for our sins.
But that's not what I'm asking you. Ian, what I'm asking you was, does Jesus call for turning the cheek to mean literally in every situation, or are you applying it to like everything, or only in the context of retaliation? Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth is not self-defense. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth is retaliation.
Yeah,
there's a difference.
No, hold on. So God is merciful and Jesus died for a reason. Therefore, if I sin, if violence is a sin because someone is raping my wife, it's forgiven. It's forgiven. So it's okay.
No, Ian. If I sin today, which when I was a Christian, I believe that I sinned every day, right? Just as you sin every day, right? That's part of our nature, right? Okay. Yeah. If I sin, and what do I have to do? I have to repent, right? God does not automatically forgive that sin.
No, okay, see, repent does not mean you ask God to forgive your sins every time you sin.
No. What I mean is this: if I commit a sin, right, that is great enough that it weighs me down, that it causes the Holy Spirit to be aggrieved, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I have to repent. God is not going to automatically say, "Oh, he's just forgiven." No, I have to show that I'm going to go back into God's grace. Right? I'm going to have to go back into the Holy Spirit. That I'm going to change my behavior to not do it again. That's why, for example, if Parker, the stud that he is, when he pulls out every time, right? If he was going to become a Christian, he would have to disengage from that behavior. He couldn't just keep doing it.
Yeah,
and then repent every time.
Yeah, but
sorry, Parker, I had to do that, bro. I mean, come on, it's great. POP, man. So that's.
So you said that you're not automatically forgiven when you sin. You absolutely are. You absolutely are.
The blood of Jesus does wipe away your sins, and that allows you to be
yesterday's sins, today's sins, every sin that's going to happen.
But Ian, that does not mean
you don't have to repent.
No, yes, but Ian, that does not mean that I can go out and commit sins as if that sin is automatically going to be forgiven. I cannot go out and kill somebody under the assumption that God is just going to absolve me of that sin.
All right. You stated that when you were a Christian, you believed that you sinned every single day. How could anyone ever be saved if we sinned every day?
Okay. Because usually
said the sin was so great that it caused a grievance to the Holy Spirit.
It depends on
every sin is equal.
Well, getting into hamartology, which is a study of sin. I don't want to get into the study of sin here. What I'm trying to tell you there is that you can't go through life sinning and doing bad things and keep doing the behavior and not change the behavior. That's the problem.
Look, here's the thing. God will know whether you're trying to stray away from sin or not. He knows your heart always, and he'll know whether you're trying or not. And just like you said, we're going to sin every single day. So if one of those sins that I do every day happens to be stopping someone from raping my wife,
raping, please, you can't say the R word. Yes.
Okay, raping, my fault.
That's all right.
Then so be it. But it's forgiven because
okay, then I'm going to need you the next time that you come on, right, and we talk about this, we can bring this issue up with God, right? I need you to give me a theological source from the Bible, from any creed, something, right, that tells me that what you just said, that your sins will be forgiven without repentance and the changing of behavior. Okay, I want you to give me because I fundamentally disagree with you.
Sinning. You're contradicting yourself. Repenting does not mean, and you disagreed to it, does not mean you'd ask for God to forgive your sins. Repentance means you turn away from sin and you try your hardest not to do it. You're giving yourself to God. Only have to
both of those would be a part of the process.
You're changing. When we pray, we ask God to forgive us of our trespasses, to forgive us of our sins, and so that we might then change the behavior that we go forward. Right? The reason why Jeffrey Dahmer, according to some Christians, is in heaven right now is because he became a Christian. He confessed his faith in Christ. He repented of his sins, and then he did not do the behavior again. In fact, when
I'm not one of those Christians. I don't believe that.
Okay. Well, then hold on.
Well, then what are your standards for salvation then?
Yeah, why not?
No, I don't know him personally, nor do either any of y'all know him personally.
I believe
so we don't know whether he was truly of God or not. But based on what we do know, that he killed lots of people and did whatever, if he was a true man of God, he would. He way before that. Let me say this.
What about Paul? Paul killed many Christians. He killed many people, and then Jesus came to him, and then he became a Christian. Was Paul saved?
Wait, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, my friend. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, how's it different from Jeffrey Dahmer?
But I'm going to say I don't have enough information about him, nor will any of us ever have it. But
no, this is a very easy answer. Your Bible, Paul's story, as documented within Acts, is clear.
Yeah.
He was a murderer of Christians, right? Yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer was a murderer of homosexuals, right? Paul saw Jesus, or Jesus came to him in a vision, right? Paul then became a Christian and changed the world, right? Jeffrey Dahmer believed in Jesus, repented, and did not do the action again. What is the distinction between them to where Paul is saved, but Jeffrey Dahmer is not?
Okay, like I just told you, that's a really good point, and I said you're right. A murderer. I'm glad you brought that up because now that's something that I can have in my little bit of knowledge that I have.
All right, well, at least, okay, well that's fine then. Okay, I'm glad you. Okay,
I'm gonna answer your question. I don't know because
and
neither do you. We don't know him personally, and I don't think the only person that knew he was going to heaven or not is God. He was the only one that knows, and Jeffrey Dahmer knows now whether he's in heaven or hell.
That's a very Muslim take, by the way. I mean, Muslims believe that. Muslims will will never condemn a person to hell because they believe that Allah is the only source that can do that, and you will never hear a Muslim tell you really that you are going to hell, or that any person, whether that be Schmittler, whether that be Stalin, whether that be any person, is going to hell because God is the judge.
Yeah. Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying,
Anna, thank you so much for the $20 cash app. Thank you so much, Anna. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I'm saying that God's the only ones that know whether we're going to heaven or not. Because he's the only one who can truly see our heart. But like Parker has the live where he says, it says something along the lines of, why am I going to hell? Yes, I do, because if you don't believe in God, it's that simple. But
by that, right?
But it's not just believing in God. But anyway, that's a different subject.
Yeah, okay. Again, the reason why I came on is because there are real world examples of this. And it breaks my heart, right? Anybody that knows me, I had the same position as Parker, right? If someone came to me and they asked me, I would prefer that they don't get an abortion, right? That's my personal preference. I don't really care in the first trimester as Parker does, but I would prefer it, right? And I would do what I can to help them out.
Wait, prefer that who doesn't get an abortion?
The woman, that
in what scenario?
I prefer. In the scenario that
general scenario, I guess.
No.
What scenario?
No. I said I'm okay with it within the first trimester, but they come to me, but I'm okay up to like 18 to like 20 weeks. Basically.
Same. So you're just not saying that you prefer or don't prefer.
Yeah, I prefer, but I would say, how can I help?
Because if you prefer them not to do it, that would mean that you think it's wrong.
Oh, well, no, okay. Let me rephrase it then. I don't believe that it's wrong until it reaches sentience like you. I do believe that. But what I'm saying is whenever a woman comes to me, some women have come to me before and said, hey, try to get an abortion. I go, well, why are you doing it? What do you want to do it? Blah, blah, blah. But then I go, okay, well, that's fine. Then you can go ahead and do it. My preference, right, is for a woman who just says, I just want to have an abortion. I'm at 16 weeks or I'm at 17 weeks, right? I would say, okay, what can I do to help you? Because maybe you want to, maybe you're doing it for some reason, right? But I don't actually think that it's wrong to have an abortion within the first trimester. I don't believe that. I believe, like you, that looks like a Cheeto. The point that I was trying to make was that I think that we should do everything to support these women, right? But if they want to have the abortion, they can. Okay, they can, but I want to support the women, and I want to be there for them, and that there are these real cases that are impacting people, and saying that a 9-year-old should die, I can't fathom that. I just can't.
Well, so, I think what we learned from this is that we all have our own opinions and our own beliefs. Just how,
dude, this isn't just having your own opinion or own belief. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You're talking about a 9-year-old literally having to give up their life.
Yes, and I'm saying
to a non-sentient individual.
That they would be better off, not on this earth because they would be in heaven. And you're saying that they wouldn't. Yeah,
you don't know heaven to exist. I can give you actually reason to believe that heaven's not a legitimate concept.
I do know heaven exists, and you will eventually.
You have confirmation bias and you assume that you're right when you have absolutely no evidence to justify your position. I can give you contradictions with your God, right, in our existence in this reality.
Okay, go ahead. I'll write them down. Don't use big fancy words. Do
you want to talk about that in the God conversation? Because that's specific to the God conversation.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to. What's that?
Is there any specific verses that that you think are contradictory that I could look up?
Right, given your God being all-knowing, all-powerful, and all good, right, it would contradict with us being in this world, because this world is not the best possible world. The best possible world is heaven, okay? If the best possible world is heaven and God being all-knowing, all-powerful, and all good would put us in the best possible world, well, then it would be logically entailed that we're in heaven. Given that we're not in heaven, exist.
That absolutely made no sense, man. Like I said, just talk to us in normal language. You don't have to use.
I used completely normal language. What was the?
Okay, so you're saying that we're not in heaven because there's evil on earth. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we're not in heaven, right? You think we're not in heaven? That would be your position. I was just trying to go through it quickly. Is your position that we're not in heaven?
No, you were saying that there's no heaven because there's evil on earth. Is that what that concluded?
No. I'm saying we're not in heaven. That's my position. Is that your position?
My position is that there is a heaven.
Are we in heaven?
No, absolutely not. No.
Okay, so we're not in heaven. Okay.
No.
Is heaven a better world than earth?
Heaven's not a world, but heaven is a much better place than here.
Okay, heaven is a better place than here. Okay, right? Given that God, right, is all knowing, all powerful, and all good, he will put us in the best possible place.
No.
No?
Because no, if he had control over us, that would not be love. And it says that God loves us and we have free will. He gave us free will. But we failed immediately. The first two people
Is there
failed.
free will in heaven?
I don't know. It says in the
know?
Bible that it says that we can't understand heaven.
Wait. Why is free will necessary?
Okay, so if you have a girlfriend and you control, like, or you do have a girlfriend, you love her, right? Yes, you love her. So you're not going to control every single thing that she does because you love her. You want her to do her own things that make her happy. That's love. Love is not controlling someone and every single thing that they do. God gave us.
So you're saying if God puts you in heaven, God doesn't love you?
No, God gave us a choice whether to choose him or not.
Wait, but if a aborted fetus dies, right, they go to heaven, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So if the aborted fetus goes to heaven, they didn't make any choice. They still went to heaven.
They didn't have to because they weren't old enough of right or wrong to know right or wrong. Okay. When you're in the age like you said.
Yeah, but like again, God sends them right to heaven. So God doesn't love them?
God does love them.
Okay. So then if God loves them, even though he sent them right to heaven, then what's the reason why God can't send us right to heaven?
Because they weren't old enough to have free will. They weren't old enough to have
if God had never put us on earth, we wouldn't have been old enough either.
Yeah.
But so God can just send us right to heaven.
Buddy, you're not understanding it.
Wait, so why can't God send us right to heaven?
Because he loves us. It's that simple. He doesn't send us right to heaven.
If God sends someone right to heaven, right, then he doesn't love them.
No. He
doesn't. He doesn't love them. So then the aborted fetuses that go directly to heaven, they're not loved by God.
Once. It's that simple. Two things could be true at once. Not every single thing has to contradict something else. I mean, saying that a baby who dies goes to heaven. Well, they didn't have free will.
They never made a choice. They went directly to heaven without a choice. So if God sent them directly to heaven, you think God sending them directly to heaven would mean that he doesn't love them. That means that, again, God didn't love those fetuses.
The difference is that me and you have the knowledge of right or wrong. A baby does not. So the baby automatically goes to heaven.
So prior to you existing, did you have knowledge of what's right and wrong?
No, because
so God can send you directly to heaven. There you go.
No, see what explain to me what you just said. Before me being born, did I have knowledge of right to wrong? And I said no, and you just said
that means God can send you right to heaven. You said the reason why the fetus went directly to heaven is because it is the case that they did not have knowledge of right and wrong. But prior to your existence, you didn't have knowledge of right or wrong, so you could have just been sent right to heaven.
We're arguing over schematics, dude.
Schematics?
It's pointless to argue over something like this.
I've never heard that one before. Schematics?
I mean, of all the big words you know, but
semantics. It's semantics. There's no K.
Cool. Anyway.
I'm gonna actually start using that now. I kind of like that.
Schematics. No, I
kind of fuck with it. I kind of fuck with it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, go for it. Sorry.
I wasn't saying anything. I just said thank you. But
appreciate it.
If the knowledge that you have now and how you're very good at making someone contradict themselves, you could apply that knowledge as a Christian. And you can make so many atheists look stupid.
And you know what I did as a Christian? I self-refuted myself. And that's why I'm not Christian anymore.
You will be again.
Okay, I don't see how. Okay, you have not accounted for this contradiction.
No, I mean...
So like, honestly, you're saying that this 9-year-old should die, should literally die, right? Give up her life, all because of this mystical, magical land that you believe in that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
that's crazy. That's actually insane. That's actually, why do we live in this world? What is going on? Is this actual reality?
I mean, it's actually insane that you're valuing 70 years that you could live on this earth for an eternity that you're going to be dead and you don't even know where you're going to go.
I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I am not.
That's just reality. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break it to you. That's reality.
There's either a God or there isn't a God. I mean, if there's not a God, then nothing happens. I mean, like you just said, when you die.
I don't know. No, maybe it could be something else. Maybe there's some other notion that happens after we die. Maybe we're reincarnated. I don't fucking know what's going to happen. No one knows. Again, you making a claim about what's going to happen
here's the thing.
is coming from the lack of knowledge and from the ignorance. So you're believing something in despite of you having ignorance.
Okay, you just said, I don't know. That's a lack of ignorance. Every single atheist No,
that means I have ignorance, but at least I'm acknowledging that ignorance.
Every single atheist answers says I don't know, and he says, oh well, there could be something else.
You know what's funny? You're trying to be ignorant to the fact that you're ignorant. Does that make sense? Yeah, you're literally being ignorant to the fact that you're ignorant.
I'm aware of that because you're going to say, well, you don't truly know because there's no physical proof or anything we can directly observe that shows God's real. I understand that, but the thing, it's rough out here.
I guess.
What?
I mean,
what I was saying, every atheist, agnostic, whatever you want to call yourself to be, says the same thing, that they don't know. And they've been saying that forever. And then we have an answer.
Yeah, Christians have been saying that Christianity is true forever. That's called their position.
It has been real since the beginning of mankind.
No, it hasn't.
Since the beginning of Earth.
So can you can't account for the contradiction? Can you give me any basis to account for this contradiction here? Right? Like maybe there's a misinterpretation here. Let me know what that misinterpretation is.
What I was saying, what I wanted to say was, how come y'all have not came up with any other option besides nothing?
Because we rely on data to give us answers, and when you have no data, the only
You're never going to find data within this world that tells us what happens after we die. How do you not understand?
Exactly. So then why do you form a conclusion? That's the whole point.
Because there's been a book
are trying to be ignorant to the fact that you're ignorant, and then you're trying to hold to an explanation when there is no explanation. This is the godly gaps fallacy. You're saying something is unexplained, therefore God. That's what it is.
Okay, like I told you last time I was on here, there's a reason there's a Bible. There is an explanation, and it's literally at the palm of any of our hands.
No,
it's the choice of whether you want to believe it or not.
No. Okay, if that's an explanation, well, then the Bible is also an explanation. Okay?
That'd be Bible.
The Stewie Griffin created the universe through a temporal loop. That's an explanation. Does that mean that it's a justified explanation?
Has Stewie Griffin been around forever?
What?
You just said Stewie Griffin.
Stewie is eternal. He created the universe through a temporal loop. There's evidence of it on Family Guy.
My God.
Okay, it's written in the Bible. It's on my Discord.
Has Stewie Griffin been around for thousands of years? Has Stewie Griffin been around for thousands of years?
Yes.
No. Okay.
He's been around since the beginning of time.
No.
Lord Vishnu has.
What are you talking about, man?
What are we talking about?
Stop rejecting the view, man.
Stop rejecting God.
This is blasphemy. Stop. He's actually engaging in blasphemy. You're following other gods than Stewie.
See, dude, this is what I'm talking about.
That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
Stewie forgives you, though.
Yeah, Stewie's all forgiving.
He is all forgiving.
See,
except for Lois.
Stewie, in the midst of an argument about God. I mean, what does it have to do with anything?
Yeah, so again, you can't give me the relevant distinction between the two views. That means that one's justified and the other is not, because you base your view fundamentally just on faith, right? And that's your justification basis. We already showed you how there's a contradiction on this live earlier, right? But the whole basis of us getting into this conversation is to show you that you're basing your real world opinions on this, okay? You literally think that this 9-year-old should be forced to give up her life, right? For a non-sentient embryo, literally a non-sentient embryo, right? That could also die as well.
Okay, so I said that,
and then they're both dead, and then they're both gone.
Yes, yeah, and then they're both in heaven. Both.
We just showed you how heaven's not even possible. Like actually, like we literally, you can't account for the contradiction here. If you can't even account for it being real, then how can you justify people literally dying in real life, children dying? This is not a joke. This is not a joke at all. Children dying because of your belief. This is why I come on here and argue this, because this literally is influencing you to believing that these children should die. That's wild. Like, I don't think you realize how wild of a claim that is.
There would be no dying. There would be no death if Eve wouldn't have sinned, if she wouldn't have been deceived by the devil.
You have no basis for that. Again, the Christianity is false.
It's right in the Bible, dude. I mean, that's my basis.
Yeah. And the Bible does not describe, right, the like morality accurately. Okay, there are many things in the Bible that we would consider to be wrong. Okay,
No.
Jesus, if we want to look at like
maybe in the
even his
Old
claims
Testament.
about divorce, do you think it would be wrong for someone to remarry after someone cheated on them?
Yeah, it says no. Well, no.
Or no, is it abuse? Is it abuse? Is that they make a exception for infidelity, right?
Yeah, well,
Not for abuse.
it's porneia, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
adultery and porneia. Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, so for abuse, so abusive, right? Someone
Yeah.
is abused, right? They get divorced. Is it wrong for them to remarry?
Mm-hmm.
You think it is?
Yeah,
So they should not be with anyone for the rest of their life. They ought to be celibate because they were abused.
Well, no. Well, hold on, Ian. Which case is it? Is it Mark's version where there's no exception, or is it Matthew and Luke's where there is an exception?
I don't even understand what we're talking about right now. Like what you just brought up.
Bro doesn't even know what his own Bible is. Like,
Yeah, I mean, this is Jesus' commandments on divorce. When he was asked about the certificate of divorce, Mark records Jesus saying that no man shall divorce his wife for any reason. Matthew and Luke say that no man shall divorce his wife except for adultery or porneia. Then he can leave his wife.
wait, Ian, what are the first 4 books of the New Testament?
Of the New Testament?
Yep.
I mean, I can just look in my Bible.
You don't know. You don't know off the top of your head. You think
No,
that
I
this
don't.
9-year-old should die, right? But you don't even know the first 4 books of the New Testament off the top of your head. That is
and-
unfucking believable. That's your justification is this. You don't even know the first 4 books. I can't even believe it. I can't believe it.
No.
Okay. You just said that there wasn't a heaven, and you just claimed that you proved that there wasn't a heaven.
I literally.
But then you also agreed with the statement that we can't know about anything afterlife within this world that we live in. There's no.
Yeah, but I can still. This is a conceptual contradiction.
but you still
okay?
can't,
I can know
because-
about concepts, right? But that doesn't mean I have data empirically to be able to demonstrate this. These are all conceptual. These are all hypothetical. These are in our mind. This is using our rational capacities, our analytical capabilities, right? We're not referring to like empirics here. We're not like there's not some measurement of something here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. You brought up your mind. I mean, we're never going to be able to understand anything.
No, we have no. Okay, so what we're saying is that there's no
fully
empirical
understand
measurement.
anything.
Hold up. What we're saying is that there's no empirical measurement of God. That's
There's
what we're
no-
saying.
But there is none that there isn't a God.
Yeah. There's no empirical meassurement either way that
Okay.
there's a God. We're making an argument
why
that
are
there's
you
a
so strong
contradiction,
about being-
because there's a logical contradiction. Okay. Okay. Like for example, there's no empirical evidence that there is or isn't like a squared circle. There's a logical contradiction, and that's why we reject it. Okay. So that's not empirically based. It's based upon like whether or not we can analyze whether or not there's a contradiction in the scenario. Okay. So there can't be a squared circle. There can't be something that has 0 corners and then also 4 corners simultaneously.
So you're saying that you can prove that there is no God based off a
contradiction, a logical contradiction, which relates to concepts.
Yeah.
Concepts in which would contradict each other based upon your notions of God holding the triomny properties, all knowing, all powerful, and all good.
Okay. Whatever you think contradicts whatever. You're being deceived. You're deceived. Yeah, I mean, it's that simple. And I say it's that simple.
Yeah. Trust me, bro. So I'm being deceived. How about you're being deceived? How about I just gave you a contradiction? You're the one that's being deceived.
I'm being deceived because
you're like denying reality. You're actually just denying reality at this point.
Okay, so tell me how it's being deceived to live by not wanting to kill anything, partaking in.
How am I deceived?
Because you think it's okay. Like you're live on
because
here.
I disagree with you?
No,
because I'm not a Christian?
No, because you think it's okay to abort during the first trimester.
Yeah, and what's the issue with that?
We just talked about it.
Yeah. And you thought a 9-year-old should be forced to give up their life to be able to try to sustain a fetus that could possibly die as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make it make sense, please, right? Please, it's like a non-sentient fetus. So again, if they're not sentient, right? I see nothing within them that would be considerably valuable at that point. If it's never going to be sentient, there would be never a point in which there would be something that's considerably valuable. Why ought I value this?
I mean, every life is valuable, whether it be non-sentient or whether it be conscious or not.
Yeah. So do you all life? So do you? If I kill this plant behind me, would you care?
Plants aren't alive.
They are. Oh,
No, and he can answer this because he if he's very knowledgeable of the Bible, it never says once in the Bible that plants are alive, and it never says that they die.
well, I don't use the Bible
once.
to organize.
It also doesn't say in the
they-
Bible that George Washington existed. Do you believe George Washington existed?
Well, see that? I mean, there again. I mean, you're bringing up.
Do you believe George Washington existed?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it written in the Bible?
Okay.
So you can have true facts outside of the context of the Bible. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not
So
true.
are you think plants are
alive?
Okay, so again, the idea that plants are alive does not have to be written in the Bible for it to be true. Plants are alive, okay?
If something that's said that does not align with the Bible, it's not true. If it's not aligned with,
I see that to me is out there because I have a book called the Cosmogony, wonderful book, ancient Greek book, right? It tells about the origin of the universe, the gods battling, the founding of life, Prometheus, beautiful stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would say I would be crazy if I thought all those were real, right?
Yeah.
You would, but you can literally compare them with the Bible, like line up the stories, right? The only difference is that they had more gods, but other than that, I mean, it's kind of the similar stories about creation and about man being created out of mud and clay, and about God, Zeus giving them fire. I mean, it's like, you would say I would be insane to believe that. And yet, me calling you insane for believing in Yahweh and that Genesis is like actual history, you would call me a Christian phobe or something.
Yo, Yelena, thank you so much for the $10. I appreciate it. Thank you so much from Venmo. I appreciate it.
well, why do you? What's so wrong against being a Christian?
Nothing.
Well, I just gave you. It's not rational, right?
A belief
you're going to come to absurd conclusions
It's
like what you
not
just
I
believed
asked you,
in.
What do you gain? What do you personally gain not being a Christian?
Rationality.
No, you don't gain rationality.
Yes, I do. I literally do.
If you gain rationality,
You literally
then
lose
it's
out
like
on rationality.
It says in the Bible that the
Stephanie,
fear of
thank you for the $7. I appreciate it.
beginning.
Thank you so much.
It says in the Bible that the fear of God is the beginning of knowledge. And I mean, if you think that you have rationality, not believing,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Critical
Again.
thinking makes people not accept the view. Wow,
that's not.
it's almost like the religion was predisposing you towards confirmation bias and accepting things with no evidence.
No, hold on. You want to talk about critically thinking? Then you would understand that having sex for pleasure has caused so much problems because again, if you don't want to have a baby, just don't have sex. It's as simple as that. There's no reason.
I don't know. I've had no problems.
You've had no problems because you've done things, contraceptives or POP, whatever.
POP.
Please, bro. Stop, bro. Please. Okay. Gosh, yeah, no. Actually, though, seriously, but there's nothing bad that's coming from it. So
There's nothing bad coming from.
nothing
abortion.
bad that's come from it in my life so far. So has it not been bad in my life because there's
Right
nothing
there.
bad that's come from it?
I mean, you think. Okay, so
So you're saying
been abortion clinics that have been shot up, bombed,
What?
and so on.
What are you
Yes,
talking about?
And that's bad, right?
just the same thing that you brought up about a 9-year-old. What are you talking about? Bringing up Stewie Griffin. What are you talking about? Again, you bring up this stupid stuff that
I gave you reasons. I actually dude, every
try
single
to contradict themselves.
Ian,
and
I'm Ian, I'm not just bringing shit up for no reason. Every single thing I've brought up, I've described to you why I'm bringing it up conceptually and what concept that it demonstrates. If
The
you bring
reason
up
you brought
something
it up
and it
is to
doesn't
try to
demonstrate
make
any
me contradict
concept,
myself.
wait, hold up. If you bring up something and it doesn't demonstrate any concept, I'm clearly going to ask you what the relevance is, right? Like I'm not saying that you can just say anything and anything would be relevant. If I just start talking about the Broncos game right now, clearly that's not relevant. I wouldn't be able to give you a reason as to why that's relevant to our current conversation. But I've given you reasons as it relates to every single concept that I've brought up, every single hypothetical, every single situation.
Okay, yeah. I mean, everything you brought up, whether it seems out of context, you have a reason for it, and you've explained the reason why. I understand. Again, I mean, you said critical thinking. You made an outrageous statement saying you don't see how there's any bad that has come from arguing over abortion.
What? That's not what I said.
Yeah, I mean, okay then.
Sex outside of marriage, or him having sex.
Yeah, I said I have no issue with sex outside of marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. You also
world over. Oh yeah. Shit.
Big one.
Oh shit.
He said it's okay to have sex before marriage. Oh my gosh.
Okay. I mean, I want you to really think about it. I mean, I asked you at the beginning, you said for pleasure. The following of pleasure has caused so much problems just in that one thing.
You eat food for pleasure. You play Fortnite. You do all these different things in your life for pleasure.
Having
children is for pleasure. Almost every single thing of your life is going to relate to pleasure in at least some form or another, and in many aspects. I'm not saying everything, but most things. Okay.
Okay.
No issue with just pleasure. Right? It depends on what happens by virtue of the pleasure. Or what you're taking pleasure in.
Pleasures.
You find pleasure in God, don't you? You find pleasure when you go to church.
Yeah.
And it's part of a reason why you do it, right? It's because you find pleasure in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the pleasure in of itself is not a bad thing. Actually, we would hope that other people would have more pleasure. I would hope that many people around the world would have more pleasure than they currently have. Do you agree? Like in a typical sense, not necessarily for everything that you get pleasure from, but I'm saying in a typical sense, pleasure would be something that I would be considering a good thing. Unless it would have negative implications. Okay,
you just said negative implications. Pleasure of sex has negative implications.
What ones? Specifically describe in my life, right? What negative implications have come from sex outside of marriage?
Okay, you're on this live right now, and there's people that are, taking in what you're saying, and they're believing it. They're going to make their belief that abortion is okay. That's wrong, and that's
given my reasonings. I think that's totally legitimate. That's the whole reason I'm coming on here and debating these. Because I think I have totally legitimate reasons to consider this.
Yeah, but again, you're deceived, man. But
that's your assumption. You have no reason to believe that. You have no argument. You're just saying I'm deceived. I could say you're deceived.
I do have reasons because we're going in a circle, and I can see that we're going in a circle.
You're deceived.
No,
you see how that gives nothing, and if I give no reason as to why you're being deceived.
Okay. Like I said, you gain nothing not believing in God. If you believed in God,
there we go. Pascal's wager. Yeah. So if you're gonna relate to Pascal's wager, are you scared of Islam or the hell of Islam? Are you scared of the hell of Judaism?
Wager. I mean, it's just.
So wait, you don't know what Pascal's wager is? Okay, well maybe you just didn't know and you thought of it in your head. But Pascal's wager is okay. I mean, you can go through it. Just go through the argument. I won't.
Okay, like I said, me being a Christian, what's wrong with that? And that's a rhetorical question. Me living righteously and trying to do the best that I can based on what's written in the book of the Bible, specifically, King James one. There would be so much less conflicts because there would be no debate on abortion. There would be no murderings because everybody would want to, like I just said, you don't kill the 9-year-old. There would be no people killing each other. There would be so many more people as well because there wouldn't be abortions. There would be no birth control. And, all the other things.
If my morality was totally enforced too, the same shit would happen. There would be no bad things that happen in the world. Okay, what's your point?
Okay, your morality. But
if my morality was totally enforced, no one would be murdered.
What do you base your morals on? What do you base your morals on?
My own perspective, my own view.
Okay, so I'm going to kill you then because I believe it's okay.
I would ask you the reason why you think it's okay. Why is it okay for you to kill me, but not for me to kill you?
Because you just said because that's my perspective. That's I think it's okay because that's my moral view.
Yeah, but I'll typically ask for a reason, right? I'll typically ask for a reason, right? Or I'm just going to think that their view is equivalent to like what a kindergartner would say.
And like I just gave you like a reason, my reason is because I think it's okay in my head, and you think that it's your right and wrong is based on what you think.
Wait, did you say the R slur?
Yeah, I said retarded.
Oh my god, bro. Fuck you, bro. I didn't even hear that. I can't kick him out. I can't kick him out. Matt, can you kick him off?
Do you want me to leave?
I can't. No, I can't.
My iPad is literally like it's like actually not working.
My iPad too. I can't leave.
What is going on? What just happened? Yeah.
There he left. Okay, I can actually disconnect now. I can.
I got a random thing that made me verify that I'm like not a bot.
You didn't get a flag or anything, right? Like for me?
No, I didn't get a flag or anything.
Like,
I didn't even hear that.
My iPad froze too. Like it was. Like now I'm getting a bunch of notifications. Like now my notifications are going off when they didn't do that before.
Yeah. So I just got. Did you just get a random thing where you had to authenticate?
No, I didn't get that. No.
Yeah, I had a thing where like I literally couldn't kick him out because I had to like authenticate. It was like just going up like on a loading thing, and then I had to like authenticate. It thought I was an AI for a second. Like, dude, whatever. All right, man. Well, Matt, I always appreciate you coming up, man.
Oh yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. And by the way, I want to say one thing if I can, real quick. I was inarticulate in my explanation of abortion, and people were asking about it. And so Parker had actually changed my opinion on it, because prior to Parker, I was more pro-life than I was pro-choice. So Parker has changed my opinion on it, and I'm not good at formulating what I believe just yet. So don't take my word as like gospel or anything of like what I'm saying. When I said preference, I didn't mean
yeah, you're good.
That's
dude.
what I use. That's what I said.
I know you didn't mean that. I was just trying to clarify terminology.
So I am actually now. I have the exact same. Well, mostly the same. I think I'm a little bit later than you, Parker, but I have mostly the same as Parker. But I was just inarticulate with what I said. So that's my only point. Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
All right, for sure. All right, see you, man. All right, we're going to go to the next person. Only send a guest request. If you disagree, keep tapping that screen, everyone. Let's try to run it up to 1 million likes. If you want to help get out to more people, everyone, share the live copy link, send it to your friends. We're going to try and get on to the next person. If you want to support me, Venmo, Cash App in the bio. I still can't get any gifts here over TikTok. The only way you can gift me over TikTok, if you can't do Cash App and Venmo, is by gifting subs. But we're going to go on to the next person real quick. Please only send a guest request if you think that abortion is wrong in the first trimester, y'all. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
That face says it all.
How old?
He's like, oh.
How old?
Yeah, I didn't realize. Hello?
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you. How old did you say?
Oh, I'm 25.
For sure. Do you think abortion is wrong in the first trimester?
Nope.
All right, I am just looking for people who disagree. Appreciate you coming on, though. Only send a guest request if you disagree, everyone. We are just looking for some debates. I'm trying to get to the next individual real quick. Only send a guest request if you disagree, y'all. Keep tapping that screen, everyone. We have 4,000 people in here. We'll easily be able to get up to 1 million by the end of the live, y'all. Easily. For some reason, I don't think you realized it came up. Maybe not. For some people, it takes a while to get in, so like maybe it just... That's what happens. Yeah, only send a guest request if you do disagree, y'all. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
33.
For sure. Do you think abortion is wrong in the first trimester?
I do. I'm a Christian. I'm pro-life, but I will say this. I have a daughter. I have 2 daughters, actually. She's 10 years old, and I'm with you 100%. If any grape, happened to her, not only would I, castrate Buddy myself, and spend the rest of my life in prison. I feel like that we should have the option to decide.
Are you driving, by the way?
No, I'm at work though. Is it loud?
Okay, I'm just making sure. So yeah. I would think most people would disagree with what the last guest said. That was pretty wild.
Yeah, and not to knock him, but I think that the options should be there. I don't think that they should be forced to do either. To keep it or to abort it. I think it should be totally up to the family. Me personally, I probably wouldn't, and I'm pro-life. But that's just but that's a rarity, and every rule has an exception. So to use grape as an argument against abortion, the percentage is right around.
Hold up. So if you think it's okay for, in the context of grape, for people to be able to get an abortion?
I think they should have the choice. I don't think they should be forced to do so. Or
okay, for sure. Just making sure no one's using an argument against all of abortion on the basis of this. I was just trying to figure out what people's views are.
Well, it's 0.5%. So in my mind, even though I'm pro-life and I don't agree
I
with
think it is higher than that. I'd have to look though.
Well, even if it was 5% instead of 0.5, I think that 5% should have the choice and that they should have the option. And 3% of abortions are due to the fetus not having good health, and 4% is the mother not having good health problems during the pregnancy. So, yeah, sure, but that 8%, I do agree that they should have the choice. But to start off with the origin of Planned Parenthood, do you know who founded it?
I know who you relate to, but I don't think that that's relevant, right? So if we,
100%.
no, well, we can talk about the origins of lots of things. That doesn't determine how it currently is in the current
right now
moment.
we're talking about abortion. I'm trying to say the founder of it didn't have good intent. She started the N-word project. The whole entire thing was to be utilized by the black community, and that's just fact. So in my mind, do I really even care?
Margaret Sanger did not perform abortions. 1, 2. If we want to relate to this, like our country was literally founded in slavery, right, and founded in the acknowledgement of people who were black to be enslaved. Right. You understand that, right? So does that say anything about the United States today?
I mean, I don't think.
Yeah, it's something that they need to reconcile with, but that does not mean that those characteristics would be applicable to today under your view, right? So as it relates to that, so you don't think that that's going to be a relevant thing to bring up. So let's talk about specifically what your view is. Like, you think abortion is wrong for elective reasons, right? At the very point of pregnancy, right?
Yeah. Now, that being said, okay. I don't think that if someone does that, it's like it's the most unforgivable, thing. I think that, like old buddy said, all sins are equally forgiven. They're not equal.
It's murder, dude. Under your view, it's murder, right?
You're right, 100% murder. Because
so you don't view murder like that much?
It's not translated right. No. The 10 Commandments that said "Thou shalt not kill" was translated wrong. Is "Thou shalt not murder." And you were right earlier. Killing in self-defense, killing an animal for food. David killed Goliath, but Cain murdered Abel. If that makes sense.
No. So like my point is that like you're just not looking at it in like a wild context. That's not really making any sense to me. Like that, I would expect that you would look at it in like a negative context if it relates to like your notion of what murder is. Right, and self-defense isn't murder, by the way.
Right,
you just want to clarify that.
No,
it's just killing. And then there's also abortions that are self-defense, which you agreed people can get them in those circumstances.
Right, and I think
if you want to relate to elective abortions, right? Is the basis for why you think the elective abortion should be wrong? Is that in religion?
Well, it's set up in my faith, and I also know that it's so easy for someone that doesn't have to do it to say, "Oh, keep the baby, abortion's wrong," and then either that the baby suffers from the family problems, or he gets sent off to an orphan, or to be adopted, and then it just falls in the system. So I mean, really, that's kind of like just cutting hairs. I don't think that the topic of abortion is that plain cut and dry. You know what I mean? I think that kind of it's I just think it's wrong for pro-lifers to dodge the responsibility of what they're doing. You know what I mean? So if you're going to be out there protesting that abortion's wrong, then go adopt one of these babies that you want to keep. But all in all, I think that abortion is wrong, but I also think that it's not outside of the umbrella of God's forgiveness. So earlier you said God can send people straight to heaven with the fetus. Well, God didn't send that fetus to heaven. The parents chose to abort it, and that decision, that free will decision, sent the baby, to heaven.
No, God still decides to send them to heaven on the basis of that decision that happened. So God's the one who determined that consequence. So the idea is that if God can send us directly to heaven, right, and heaven's a better place than earth, well, then God did something evil by sending us to this earth because God didn't put us in the best possible world. So all things considered, God created evil, which would be a contradiction with God's nature.
The evil, evil is just the absence of good. Light is the absence, or darkness is the absence of light. So it's not that God created evil. It's just that to oppose his goodness and his plan is therefore evil. Now, angels were made in heaven. They didn't have free will. And
yeah, so there would be something that would oppose his plan. His plan is to create the best possible world. All knowing, all powerful, all good. Best possible world. Okay. If best possible world is it, and we identify that we're not in the best possible world, well, then that tells us that there's a contradiction with your God and our reality. Okay. If your God existed, we would exist in heaven. We wouldn't exist on earth.
We will for eternity. But just like you said, God don't want 8 billion robots that don't know anything else.
Is there free will in heaven?
Because that's what the angels.
Is there free will in heaven?
That's kind of scarce too, because we're gonna go to heaven, but we're gonna come back and reign 1,000 years on earth and make heaven on earth. And at that point, we do have free will.
So if there's free will in heaven, well, then that tells you that you can have free will and there's still no sin. So again, God could have just sent us directly to heaven. That tells us there's a clear contradiction there. We can reject the notion that abortion is wrong in the first trimester on the basis of the fact that your religion is right, because your religion is wrong by virtue of this contradiction.
I don't understand the contradiction.
Well, no, again, God, logically, all-knowing, all-powerful, all good, puts us in the best possible world. We don't exist in the best possible world. Therefore, it couldn't be the case that your God would exist, because we could not then be a creation of your God.
Hey, have you seen the Marvel, the Endgame movie with Doctor Strange and that scene where he has all the different scenario possibilities? It's like, there's 187 million. And everybody was like, well, how many did we win? He said one. See, the notion that God is all knowing, but there's no free will or everything's predetermined. I think that it's similar to that Doctor Strange. It's that God knows what we're going to do because he knows every trillionth of a thing we could do in that situation. So it's not that, that God's a contradiction in itself because he put us on earth. I think that he said, do not be of this world. I mean, don't store your treasures where they can rust and mildew, but store your treasures in heaven for the eternity. This is a blink of an eye. We're on this earth. Trillions and trillions and hundreds of trillions of years will pass, and it's still an eternity. Like, you still have to go tomorrow. I mean, eternity is a long time. And the whole concept of hell being a fire pit, I'm not really sold on that. I think hell is separation from God. You're face to face with God. Everything comes to a realization like, oh crap, dude, it is real. Oh my God. He shows you all your sins and judges you, and then snatched out in a blink of an eye, you're in pitch black darkness.
Okay, Jay, I've heard this story many times. I don't think that this accounts for the contradiction, and I do think that this is kind of getting off the topic, and we're getting a little circular.
You know what, to be honest, dude, I was just going to talk about the whole abortion thing, but old buddy got so y'all were going so sideways that I kept having to bring up points for every little thing. This is just, I like debating with people that don't have the same view, man. And you know what I'm saying? It's no hate, it's all love. I see what you do all the time. You got a great mind, man. You got a good following. So this ain't nothing that, but I'll keep on listening, man. But I'll let you bring somebody else on.
For sure, man. Appreciate you coming up. All right, let's go to the next person. If you support me, everyone, tap the screen. Everyone, let's try to get up to 1 million likes before we do end it live, everyone. As well, if you like my content, follow me if you're ready. I do go live literally every single day. We do 6 hours of lives every day. I'm going to be on until 6:37. So here in, I think 15, 20 minutes, we're going to be moving to sub-only chat for the last hour of the live. I might have an extra 30 minutes till 8. Because it just depends on whenever my girlfriend gets here. So we're going to go on to the next person. Please only send a guest request if you think abortion is wrong in the first trimester, y'all.
Oh my God.
How old are you?
Hi.
Yeah, how old are you?
I'm 51.
Yeah, do you think abortion is wrong in the first trimester?
I do, but I believe there's exceptions.
Sure. What
Like
are
if-
those exceptions?
I believe if they were raped.
Oh, by the way, you have to
sure.
say R word or SA. It's TikTok terms of service. Just letting you know.
Oh, okay. So say that again. I'm sorry.
You have to say R word or SA or grape. It's TikTok terms of service. Just so you don't get your account banated.
Okay.
We have to say all these different
sure I
terminology or
understand.
suspended, so you don't get your account suspended. It's
Okay.
TikTok TOS.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, just in those there's certain circumstances, if the mother's life is in danger or something, similar to that.
Sure.
But
So
I think
go ahead.
you are amazing for getting on here and taking on this subject, because there are a lot of passionate people that believe on both sides. And that's a difficult thing to talk about. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so specifically, what would you see to be valuable within the context of the human life that you would say that someone shouldn't be able to get an abortion in the first trimester?
Okay, I missed the first part. Something's going on with my volume.
Oh, you're good. Don't worry. So what is valuable of the human life in the first trimester that means that you would say that it's wrong for someone to get an abortion?
The value of what I believe is life.
Well, I believe it's human life too. I just don't think it's valuable until it's sentient to the same degree.
Okay, I haven't researched in a while, but just based on what I researched prior, I don't know what week this is formed and that's formed and all of that, but I do know that if that sperm and that egg didn't connect, then all those things that create life, because it's got to grow, just like a plant, you wouldn't step on the plant unless you wanted to kill it. If you took the seed and cut it apart or something like that. So, because the whole goal and point is to stop whatever that is in there from growing into a human. But
well, think about it this way, right? Like, if I plant something into the ground, the specific purpose of me planting into the ground, and the only purpose of that, the only function, is for it to grow. Okay. Yeah. That's not the same as engaging intercourse, because if it was the case that it just happened to be something that grew, I wouldn't really care about it, right?
Right.
Right. But I care about it more if I intended it for it to be that way. When someone engages in intercourse and they want to get an abortion, they didn't intend to have a pregnancy, right? When they engaged in intercourse, I bet they hoped otherwise.
Right. But that's a risk. That's why there's condoms. That's why there's other forms of.
Oh yeah. And 51% of abortions, come from failed contraception.
Okay. Well, if that's, I was never able to have children, and circumstances being that what they were in my life, I didn't feel it was a good time to adopt, but it just breaks my heart to know that so many little children, there's a lot of people out there that would help and want that child, and that child could grow up to be an amazing mind like yourself.
Yeah, and in the same way that child could grow up to be amazing, the child could grow up to be very bad as well. So this idea that we're only going to look at the good qualities is kind of biased towards looking at it in a good perspective. Secondly, I don't think that we would just value something on the basis of just potential. I think that we're going to value the future and the potential of an entity that already exists, right?
Well, absolutely.
So my point is that that future is going to be valuable once there's a past or present established. So my standard is past or present and future subjective experience. If it doesn't meet both those criteria, well, then it wouldn't have value under my view, to the same degree.
Okay. And we're all entitled to our opinions and our views, and that's what makes this world so amazing. And I personally, I believe in God, and I believe the Bible, and I've done a lot of study about it, because I'm I like to have evidence. And, that's what I base a lot of my life on, which a lot of people do. And a lot of people choose not to do that, and they come up with their way of coming up with decisions and that kind of thing in life. So I believe it starts in the beginning when the sperm and the egg connect, that there's value. That's what.
Okay.
The purpose of the IUU is to prevent that from happening. Then, I mean, they have to be together for it to be human life.
Oh no, it is. Do you think it's a murder? Right? You said it's not murder. And then I showed you, I was like, okay, if then there's probably some other quality in humans that you consider to be valuable that then tells you that it's wrong in certain scenarios, like with me and you, but not wrong in the scenario with the zygote.
Well, kind of with that guy earlier, you know, when you were talking about killing and murdering and there being a difference and that kind of thing, I don't know. I honestly, I don't, none of us know 100%. You know, what's...
Well, killing would be like self-defense, right? Murder would be like you unalive someone, right? Or kill someone.
Right.
Like unjustly. So it's relating to whether or not it's bad. Whereas like self-defense wouldn't be like for a bad reason.
Right. And I just think that you're just going to have these two groups of people that believe one way. Even if you don't believe in God, you can believe that it's destroying life, aborting life, you know. So I believe that.
Yeah, you can believe that, but I mean, at the point I'm referencing here, I think that you're gonna have like probably a better reason to believe that like it's valuable whenever I say it's valuable, right? If you're relating to like any perspective really. I mean, even religious individuals have had perspectives that are similar to mine for generations. The notion of ensoulment, right? And ensoulment, that would be the basis for when it's okay and when it's not in many contexts of any other religion. So that's pretty similar to my notion in terms of sentience, right? Because the soul is similar in the aspect in which it's relating to your ability to experience things, perceive things, right? Mm-hmm. That's typically how people refer to it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not your judge. I'm not the decider of truth. I do believe in the Bible, like I said, and that's where I kind of am like, that's my presupposition. where I get my knowledge and beliefs from, but I'm open to my faith and belief to be widened, I guess I could say, or, because I believe every person is put in this earth at this time for a reason. I'm talking to you that I didn't think you would answer me. And I mean, it's for a reason. And it's fantastic. I heard you talking about this and I think it's wonderful. So
No,
anyway.
I appreciate it. Well, is there anything else you'd like to reference or talk about?
Oh no, I'll keep going forever. So
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Peace out. All right, everyone. We're going to go on to the next person. If you like my content, follow me. If you're ready, tap the screen. Everyone, let's try to run it up to 1 million likes. If we keep tapping the screen, we'll easily get there very, very soon. We're going to get the next person up here. Only send a guest request if you think that abortion is wrong in the first trimester. In 10 minutes, we're going to be moving.
Be honest. Eat it. What are you eating? Think for the
reaction to it. That's it.
Yes,
Why so?
I do.
Why do you think it's wrong?
Because I know that it's like an embryo. I know that it's an embryo, technically, but it's still life. There is still a heartbeat. Even though it is just like a tiny little seed, it's not even a human yet. It still has a heartbeat, which means it's living. So
Wait, at what point?
basically, getting an abortion would be killing a life.
Oh, okay, sure. So if you want to relate to like life begins at conception. At the point of conception, there wouldn't be a heartbeat, right? Heartbeat doesn't happen until way later in stages of development. Typically, would be associated around the week, like around 11. I'm pretty sure, right? 9 to 13 is typically what's considered. So yeah, but heartbeat doesn't determine life because then you'd probably be making like the statements that specifically like if someone's heart stops beating, right, and then it starts beating again, that means that they died and resurrected from the dead.
No, they do have a heartbeat, like right when they're conceived and the embryo starts to form. It does have a heartbeat, even though it doesn't look like a human and it just looks like an embryo. It's technically still an embryo at the early weeks, but they can detect a heartbeat as early as 6-7 weeks. I mean, they detected my son's heartbeat when I was only 7 weeks pregnant.
Okay, so I mean, those are like pulses. Right, that's not like the same as
so it's like not 9 weeks. It's not 9 to 11 weeks. It's as early as 6 or 7, not 9 or 11.
6 or 7. That's like kind of like a pulse, right? That's not like an electrical pulse. That's not like what we would typically associate with like an actual heart beating. But I mean,
that's what
this is all semantical. Wait, hold up. I just want to clarify. This is all semantical. I think that you're going to go off of the heartbeat standard anyway. Like, for example, like, do you think it's okay for a family to pull the plug on an individual who's brain dead?
No.
No, you don't think it's wrong?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Well, yes, I do think it's wrong. Yes, I do.
You do
yes,
think it's
I
wrong?
Do. Sorry, I didn't understand it.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. So if you do think it's wrong, so you think that like a family should be legally obligated to pay up to $7,000 a day in order to sustain their life?
Yes, I think that trying to keep a human alive for as long as you possibly can matters and is important. So I wouldn't say that pulling the plug is a good thing to do. I would say.
Wait, by the way, I
trying
do
to
want to
keep someone
ask, are you
alive as long
driving?
No, I'm not driving. I'm sitting in my car, but I'm not driving. I have the heat on, so it probably does sound
I'm
like
just
that,
making
but I'm
sure.
not
Don't worry. Because people were just
The
putting in
car's
the
not
comment
moving.
section.
No.
You're fine. Don't worry.
No, the car's not driving.
So as it relates to brain death, you know that they're never, right? They're just biologically speaking alive, like cellularly.
Right. I get that, but also people decide to be organ donors, and I feel like you should try to keep a person alive as much as possible, even if they aren't going to come out of it, even if you know that they're not going to come out of it. That person is still important, because if they are an organ donor, they could keep another person alive by using their organs.
So then, yeah. But
so, yeah.
let's say
their life is important still.
Sure. Let's say that they don't set up to be an organ donor, right? Is it okay to pull the plug? They have no terms about how you should treat them after they are brain dead, right? What ought we do in that scenario? Let's say there's no family. There's no family. It's just the hospital. All they have is a brain dead individual, right? And there's no family. What in that scenario should the doctors do?
I still think that doctors would work to keep that person alive for as long as they possibly could, because even if they aren't an organ donor or have like any family around, it doesn't matter. They can still do what they want with their organs, and if somebody is in need of a transplant, they can easily take that person's working organs that were fine before they passed away.
So sure, but like you don't value them the same. So I mean, essentially, you can pull the plug. Like if you take all the organs, then you can pull the plug, right? They're all done. So you can essentially just like use their bodily resources. Okay. So you don't value them the same as you value me, you, and everyone else. Okay. So, if you want to do so as it relates to that, well, then I would just ask you this question. Their heart's still beating.
You value them the same. They're not like using them, but if you know that they're not, you're
literally using their organs. They're never going to come back. So you're using their organs. Because they didn't establish that they want to donate them.
They're never going to come back. You can still save another person's life by using that person's life.
Oh, sure. And he said that's a different argument, right? But we're talking about in the context in which you're saying that you can use the organ, so you're not valuing it's the same. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to come on here and ask, like, what was your conversation with the IUD? I was like, I kind of missed some of your live with that, and I was just like wanting to kind of go into that a little bit with you, because I got pregnant on it.
Yeah, chat. I do want to say that is medical malpractice. You cannot like get their organs without like them having like notes that allow for you to take the organs. But that's a different moral argument that probably some like utilitarians would run and stuff. That I don't know if that's what's happening here, but. It just depends on the situation. But yeah. So are you, I was asking specifically about like, if you don't value them and they have a heartbeat, right, to the same degree, well, then what makes you say that heartbeat is what establishes the value as it relates to like an embryo?
Wait, say that one more time. My connection is so bad. I am so sorry.
Yeah. How could you say that the heartbeat establishes the value in the embryo, but it doesn't establish value in the brain dead individual?
I didn't say that it didn't. It does.
Okay, so again, but you just said that you can use their bodily resources, like their organs, without their consent.
Yeah, well, I think that they can do that. I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure. I really.
Oh no,
sure
legally, no. I'm asking you about your position about it. Like, what do you think morally they should be able to do?
I mean, I think that if you're dead, I mean, if I was dead, I wouldn't give a shit about what somebody did with my organs. I wouldn't care if it saved somebody else's life. Go ahead.
They're brain dead, so again, they have a heart beating, so you don't care about their heart beating, right?
Yeah, of course you care about the heart. That's an organ that can be transferred to somebody else to save someone else's life.
Yeah,
of course.
Okay, but you don't care about it in the context of their own life. right?
Yeah, of course. But if their brain
Okay.
does
So
what you're saying and they're not like going to come
exactly.
out of it,
Okay, exactly. So the heartbeat is not what establishes their value. The consciousness or the subjective experience is what establishes their value, right?
Right.
Okay.
But I'm just
so
saying,
then you would be okay with abortion up until like subjective experience then, right?
No.
Why not?
Because I feel like even if something were to happen, and you didn't want your baby, you could still give that child up for adoption. You could still be pro-life, even if you didn't want that child. Like, say that something happened with a family member and like incest or something like that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here, but something like that, like you probably would want an abortion then. But I think that you could still go through the pregnancy, and if you don't want that child, like you don't want anything to do with that child, then you could still give that child a chance and give that child to another family who would be more wanting of the child.
Sure. So again, but you're still saying that they're forced to go through the context of the pregnancy, right? Like even prior to the subjective experience.
Well, personally, I've been pregnant, and I don't think that pregnancy is, I think that it would kind of be mentally hard to carry a child that came from somebody that you didn't want it to come from, but you could deal with that mentally. Like physically, that's not hurting you. Mentally, you could deal with that and be able to give that child a chance still, and not just think about yourself, think about the child's life, and still be able to give that child a chance and give that child to someone else. So you still don't have to deal with that child, but you don't have to kill the baby either.
Yeah. So again, by kill, you just mean like we're talking about like you're saying this is a baby. Yeah. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Mick Blue. Thank you very much. You're saying this is a baby?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is actually a Cheeto that's photoshopped. I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So you thought that was a baby?
It looks so much like a little baby thing. Yeah, it really does. Like it's even got the eyes. Yeah, it does.
Where are the eyes?
It even looks like it has like the skeletal, like even the skeletal, like up top. It even looks like kind of like skeletal. It's skeletal?
So weird. What are you talking about?
That's really a Cheeto?
That's literally a Cheeto. I literally put this in Photoshop.
I'm weak. That is hilarious.
So you think a Cheeto should have rights?
But still, even though it looks like that, and yeah, it does look like other things, it's kind of funny. It is really funny.
No, I'm just kidding. It's an embryo. This is a 6-week-old embryo. This is a 6-week-old embryo. Appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much.
The Cheeto ain't got a heartbeat.
No. I'm joking. It's not actually like a Photoshop Cheeto. It's actually a 6-week-old embryo.
Oh my God. I was like, I thought you were so serious. See, I'm a very gullible person. I thought you were so serious. I was like,
Shannon,
really
thank you for the $1. I appreciate it. Someone just asked me to ask you if you could handle a forced abortion. Mentally?
Abortion.
Yeah.
So my mom tried to do that to me. Let's just say that. Okay. So my mom tried to get me to have an abortion because I got pregnant on an IUD, and that's not supposed to happen. We all know that that's really kind of rare because it's like the most effective birth control. And that's kind of why I wanted to come on here, because you were having a conversation and I wanted to know what you were saying about the IUD thing, in that conversation, because the live cut out for me during that conversation and I didn't get to hear it. But I got pregnant on an IUD, and I was being forced to get an abortion, and I didn't want an abortion. I wasn't ready for a baby, and no way was I ready for a baby, but I did the damn thing. I'm raising my child. I got a house for my child, bought a house and everything.
So you think it was wrong for them to try to force you to do something, right? As it relates to that?
I thought it was wrong because I didn't want an abortion. I thought it was very wrong, and I would not be.
What about someone who doesn't want to go through the pregnancy? Like why ought we force them to go through it?
You're right about that. That girls, like women don't want to be pregnant. Like when you don't want to be pregnant by somebody, like it is hard to go through a pregnancy. It is, but I feel like it's still a good thing to think about the child still and think about the child's life. And even though you don't want that child, they didn't ask, for all that to happen, even if it's not, meant to happen to the woman, they didn't ask for it to happen. So I still think that a woman should try to think about the child as well and the child's life.
Yeah. So again, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Again, my biggest point here is specifically about, right, like whether or not the fetus is sentient, right? Like prior to it being sentient, I don't really see a reason why we should value it. Like I don't see the morally relevant difference between a zygote and a like before implantation and after implantation. That means it would be valuable in one scenario but not the other. Like
Right.
or if you're relating to a heartbeat, right? I don't see a reason why the heartbeat would establish the value, as we probably wouldn't say it would establish value in scenarios with a brain dead individual. Katie, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, I mean, why would you establish your standard either at heartbeat or at implantation? I don't know where you're placing it at this point.
I would establish life when the embryo.
Well, life begins at conception, right? That's undisputed.
Yeah,
I mean, not
yeah.
undisputed. That's
That's
mostly
true,
accepted by
but,
scientists.
I mean, yeah, but conception is different. That's when the sperm, fertilizes the egg. But then the process begins where the egg forms into what they call an embryo, and then that's when life begins. Is when it forms into an embryo, not when it's being fertilized. That's not like during conception. That's not right.
Wait, say that one more time. I'm sorry. What? Say that one more time.
So I don't think life happens during conception, because to me, conception means the fertilization of the egg, right?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So when the sperm meets the egg, that's
95% of
fertilization.
scientists think.
Yeah, but I don't think that life happens when sperm meets the egg. I think that life happens when the embryo forms after the sperm meets the egg, and the embryo has a heartbeat. That's when life forms.
Yeah. So again, if you think it's the heartbeat, right? Again, that's why I asked you about the scenario with the brain individual, right? You didn't value them, so it seems like life doesn't indicate the value for you.
I value everybody's life, and I think that their life is important too, like I said, but I was just putting it under what you were saying, under your conditions, like when you were saying that the person is brain dead. So if they're brain dead, they're obviously not going to come out of it. There's nothing that they can do. There's nothing the doctors are going to be able to do. But that person's life, that doesn't make their life any less. They still have a heartbeat. They're still living, and they could still potentially use that heartbeat and have life for somebody else, give life to somebody else.
Katie, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay,
So-
but okay, so
I was
like
just putting it under your conditions, what you were saying.
wait, how are those under my conditions? I'm confused.
Like you were saying he was brain dead, right? Like I wasn't saying his life is any less because he's brain dead versus like an embryo forming or something. I wasn't saying that, but like when you put it like that under your conditions, like saying if the person's brain dead, there's nothing they can do. There isn't anything that can be done at all. They're just lying there, but they still have a heartbeat. That person still matters. Their life isn't any less. I wasn't saying that.
So why can they be used to harvest them? You should keep them on ice to harvest them for their organs. That doesn't make me think that you value them the same as even you'd value someone who's in a coma, right? Or value someone who's just on a machine or something. Like you wouldn't say that about anyone else.
Actually, some of the organs they can take out while they're still living.
Okay, you think that they should be able to do that without consent?
Well, if they're signed up to be an organ donor, then yeah, they can. But if they're not,
not when they're living, not when they're living, not when they're like sentient. Yeah, I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much. Not when they meet my standards.
See, you're hard to argue with because you're right in different ways in different circumstances. You know, like different circumstances have different views and stuff, and you're right on some of them that have different circumstances. Like you're right on that, but like
no. My view is the best because it retains our ability to choose as it relates to abortion, and it retains the moral value that we see within the context of human beings. Both of those are granted under my view, whereas you have to lose out on one of those if you hold to any of the normal typical opinions as it relates to abortion.
So
you don't have to lose out on either of those as it relates to mine. What's up?
Can I get the argument straight for just a second? I never even asked you, like, so what are you arguing? Are you arguing that it is wrong, or are you arguing that it isn't wrong?
So I am arguing that it is not wrong to get an abortion prior to sentience, and then after sentience, it would be wrong in the context of an elective abortion, not one in which is medically necessary, and not one in which there was rape or any circumstance in which you did not cause it.
Right. And under those circumstances, like, it's so confusing to me too, because I feel like you should still give the child a life, but in another way, I have different views about it. Like in another way, like I wouldn't want to put myself through that either, you know, like I wouldn't want to go through a pregnancy that came from an unwanted person, you know, like not wanting to do something with someone. And then, you know, I have to be forced to carry a baby. I completely get that. Like I have different views about it. Like under those circumstances, yes, like I get it. I get why a female would want an abortion, but like under other circumstances, you know, I don't understand abortion. But under those circumstances, yes, I do. But in another way, I still feel like it is right to try to just give the child up for an adoption rather than abortion. I feel like adoption is better than abortion because you still don't have to deal with that child, but you're still giving that child a chance. You're still giving that child life.
You have to go through the pregnancy though.
Yeah, but like you said, yeah, like
but
I agree
that's something
with you
that they don't want to do. So they're doing
yeah.
it against their will, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that part. Yeah, that part right there is the part that gets me. Is the part that where you have to be forced to like just go through the pregnancy until that baby is ready to, you know, be given up to someone else. That's the part that stumps me because like I have different views on like that. That would be difficult to go through for somebody, but you know, I just feel like it's still better to get to have adoption than do an abortion.
It's better to do an adoption than abortion. Is that what you're saying? But yeah, okay. So again, that could be for yourself, but like, could you understand how someone else might think that an abortion would be better for them?
Say that one more time.
Can't you understand how someone might think an abortion would be better for them?
Can I think of a reason why an abortion would be better for somebody?
For someone else, yeah.
For someone else. I'm really trying to think. Yeah, I can for a few different reasons. Like if a woman had health complications and was having like a really difficult time with the pregnancy, plus it was unwanted, and you know they were saying that the baby might not make it because of the health conditions that the woman was under, or something like that. Yeah, I would, because you know they're saying that the baby might not make it because the mother isn't healthy and it was an unwanted pregnancy to begin with, and yeah, then those circumstances, yeah.
Morgan, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Katie, thank you for the subscription as well. I appreciate it. That's a good question. Di said, what if their partner was abusive and kind of like pressured them to have a kid?
Yeah, see, like it's just different circumstances, you see? Like, like it's so different. Like you have opinions one way, but under different circumstances, you think another way. But yeah, like, so what did they ask again? One more time, I'm sorry. What if your partner was abusive?
Yeah, like what if their partner was abusive?
And like force them to go through the pregnancy.
Kind of like push them and coerce them to go through the pregnancy.
Yeah, so you're saying that
now they're pregnant
like,
and then they left.
So like they're saying like the baby wouldn't even have like a really good family, like the baby wouldn't be
No, not
raised
even
in a
talking about. I mean, that could be another part of it. That's not the main part you're talking about. I'm kind of referencing on the coercive aspect. Like if someone was coerced towards getting a pregnancy, do you think that they should be able to get an abortion? Coerced and deceived, actually. I think we should mention that.
Well, I'm thinking legally now too, because if a baby was born and the father was abusive, the father still has rights to that child. Even when, like, once the baby comes, the father still has rights to that child, and it's up to his say as well if the child gets put up for adoption.
Don't they have to? They have to sign. They have to sign in order for them to have rights. They have to sign.
In another way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was still thinking adoption when they said abusive relationship, but in another way, like the father still has rights. So like I'm thinking legally now. So like the father still has rights. So it would be up to him. Like he would have to say,
he's completely uninvolved at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily true. It's forfeited if they don't sign. If they don't, if they're abusive, they'd have to apply to get the. If you don't sign, you have to apply to get it like later on.
Oh,
Maria, I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much.
I think if the woman is not married, if you are not legally married, the woman has, I'm probably going to offend some people here, but the woman has sole custody. If you're not married and you're single, the woman automatically has sole custody unless the woman announces the father on the birth certificate or the father establishes paternity somehow or another, and having to go through court and everything and get the DNA test and all that stuff. So technically the father would have to establish paternity if they weren't married. Could you send me
something that I could find for that? Because I haven't seen that.
It's in Virginia. I know in Virginia that's a thing. I know that I was not married
by state.
To my partner, so I had sole custody of my child. They told me that in the hospital that I didn't have to announce him as the father if I didn't see fit because we weren't married.
Yes, but the father does have to sign the BC. I think it just depends on the state. Yeah, I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much. Yeah, it might be state by state.
I'm in Virginia. Yeah, it varies from state to state, I'm sure, but I'm in Virginia, and here that's the way it is. You have sole custody.
I don't know why they do that so much with the states, but
yeah, it's confusing. but yeah, but it depends in the abusive relationship if she's like completely stuck. Like if she's married, she's stuck. Unless she can get a divorce before she has a baby. But if she's married, then, she has to announce that father on the birth certificate, and then adoption really wouldn't be part of the question there. So it's different circumstances, like.
Are you saying if they have to say, or are you saying like legally?
Legally.
Okay. Legally, like you can't get out of it. Okay.
Yeah, legally, like, you're married and everything. Unless you get
but you can get divorced and get out through court. But is there anything else you want to add or talk about?
No, I think that's about it. I'm glad I actually got to come on here and have a decent conversation with you.
All right, I appreciate you coming up. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, everyone, let's go on to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you disagree. We are just looking for some debates. Please only send a guest request if you think that abortion is wrong during the first trimester. We are just looking for some debates, y'all. Let's go on to the next individual. Keep tapping that screen. Let's try to get to a million likes before we do end it today, y'all. We're almost there. We're probably going to be on for until like 7:30 or something. I think 7:30 is when I'm going to get off, y'all. Or maybe I'll go to 7:45 or something like that if I can get through there. Oops, I accidentally think I clicked request mod. You're good. Don't worry at all. I'm always scared of doing that every once in a while. Like I'm always so scared that like sometime I'll be like showering and I'm gonna accidentally join a live. Yo, what's up? How old are you? All right, let's go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree, y'all. We are just looking for some debates. Let's try to get the next person up here. Please only send a guest request if you do disagree, y'all. The music? No, seriously. It's actually really funny. All right, we're trying the next individual. Didn't accept them. Alrighty. Give it a second, everyone. All right. It's not accepting that. Dean is fixed. Yeah, is Dean got his thing fixed? He hasn't been able to debate all day, I've heard. That's what he said, at least. I don't know what's been happening with him though. Yes, still messing with it. Okay, for sure, for sure. I think he was trying to fix it on the second account. That makes sense. All right, I'm gonna try to get the next person. Everyone, please only send a guest request if you disagree. If you want to support the live, Venmo, Cash App in the bio as well. If you want to gift subs, you can do that as well. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hello?
How old are you?
I just had a question. I actually didn't realize, because you said the rule about arguing before.
Oh, for sure.
I didn't know that. So anyway, I just wanted to ask you your opinion on furries. It's a complete sidewinder.
Yo, oh my gosh. Yeah. Dude, I can't, bro. I can't. No comment. Just no comment. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
18.
What's your birth year?
2005.
Do you think that abortion is wrong in the first trimester?
I didn't at first, but every time I bring up the argument, there's this one point that kills me, and I just want you to crush it real quick.
Go for it.
So people keep bringing up that if you kill a pregnant woman, sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but like, if you end the pregnant woman's life, it's considered 2 counts of murder.
So first of all, that would just be based on the way that you define it. Under my definition, it definitely wouldn't be. It would be unjustified termination of a pregnancy, assault, and then it would be murder as well. And so there would be many different things. But no, it wouldn't be 2 counts of murder. It would only be murder if it was a person, right? But like, it's not a person prior to sentience.
So like in the court system, would they wait until like after the embryo was 8 weeks or whatever?
After 18 weeks would be my view.
All right, that's all. Thank you.
For sure, appreciate it. All right, everyone, let's go to the next individual. Only send a guest request if you disagree, y'all. Yeah, that's totally dependent on like how you just define the term. You know who just lives in my guest request now? It's the Faith in Films. He's always at like the bottom of my guest requests. I don't even think he's actually here. I just think it just like puts him there. Yo, what's up? How old are you? We've got another one, boys. Good point. Good point. Good point, Lion. Archie V2. Bro's like buzzing. All right, let's try to get the next individual. Bro, same, bro. Yeah, good point. Good point. Yo, Des, what are you doing, bro? You muted. Des, bro. Bro is in the kitchen. He's dancing and shit. Oh, bro, I can't. Okay, bro's snoring too much, bro. Honestly, I'm gonna go to the next person. Bro is snoring too much. Bro has got some consistent snoring. You know, Archie was like every once in a while it would be like kind of funny because he would like every once in a while he'd go like a, you know what I mean? Whereas like him, he just like, dude, that's brutal, bro. As bro is sleep, bro. Bro is out. He's dreaming nice. He's never gonna have any idea that happened to him. By the way, we got like another hour or so left in the live, y'all. All right, let's try the next person. Only send a guest request if you think that abortion is wrong in the first trimester, y'all. We are just looking for some debates. Archie clones, so real. I still have Archie on Snap? No way. That's wild. All right, I'm gonna try to get to the next person, everyone. It's really not accepting people right now. I'm really confused. What's going on? Oh my gosh, sorry chat. I apologize. Let me text my texts because my girlfriend could be here by 6:30. That is possible, chat. That is possible. I honestly doubt it. I doubt it, chat. I doubt it. She always shows up at the later end. Oh wait, fuck! It's 7:38. Never mind. 7:38, not 6:30. I'm fucking stupid. I just said it wrong, chat. 7:38. That's when it is. 6:30. Yeah, it's like 6:30 passed. TikTok was glitching about a minute ago. Yeah, it's 6:54. Y'all, dude, y'all, no way, crazy. Oh my gosh, let's try to get the next person, everyone. Parker, FY, my sub ends in 4 days. Yes, Nat, remember to remind me, and I will make sure to get you a sub. Because I literally see you here all the time, like literally, like so much. So you definitely, if anyone deserves a sub, it's definitely you. Hello from the future. It's 8:54 here. Based. The future. How's the future? It's not letting me accept people now. I think the same thing that was happening to Dean might be happening to me now. Do y'all think the same thing is happening to me as was happening to Dean? Maybe not. I don't know. I feel like maybe not. 9:55 here. Pretty chill. Nice. Okay, didn't accept them. Let's go to the next. Only send a guest request if you disagree, y'all. What was happening to Dean? He couldn't add people. Okay, yeah, it's really not accepting people, everyone. I'm gonna try just to accept anyone. Let's try Rudy. Rudy, I know, has good connection. Oh, there we go. Yeah, what's up?
Can you hear me? Hey, I can't stay on. I can't stay on for long, but I just want to ask you a couple questions.
Go ahead.
So what do you define as a person?
It's going to be a human that has past or present and future subjective experience.
Okay, so why? So what about this subjective experience is distinguishing from like an animal's, other than?
Yeah. So I would just have a human condition.
Okay, so you have the human condition. So
yeah, so I just do human and sentience. You have to do the same thing under a pro-life stance. You do like a conjunction of human and life. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So my question is like, why do you place that arbitrary standard of like, or that arbitrary like conjunction instead of like the potential for future sentience?
So by arbitrary, you just be relating to the human part. That the same thing would be true with the other side. But if you're relating to like, why do I
the sentience part? I'm saying.
Oh, instead of future sentience. So it's not arbitrary. My notion is that I care about a future like sentience or a future subjective experience, given that there's already an actual established, or given that there would be an actual established. Like those extents, like for example, like if someone like drinks during pregnancy, I think that's wrong because it will impact a person in the future. Whereas if someone gets an abortion, right, it will never impact a person.
Yeah, I think that literally the only difference between my and your standard is that conjunction of the sentience part.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you do like life and future sentience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm doing past or present and future subjective experience. I just think that mine has least absurd reductios. Because under your view, you're going to be forcing people to go through like pregnancies and whatnot for non-sentient fetuses. I don't know why I said fetuses.
Wait, so what do you mean by that?
Yeah, essentially, like there's no capacity for there to be harm prior to sentience. Okay, so the only harm that would be attributed would be the people that are being harmed by not being able to get an abortion because they're being unwillingly they have to go through pregnancy.
So if I could point like negative side effects to getting abortion, like as far as like how it impacts the mother, correct?
Oh no, it could only be through impacts to the fetus, because if it's impacts to the mother, then you just say that's consensual through the individual getting an abortion consensually.
Okay, I don't understand how like if I consider that to be a person, right? Like, the thing is, like with our like conjunction, I think the thing that pulls most of the weight is the human portion of that conjunction. So I feel like it's like inherently valuable that it's a human, like human life, right?
Well,
and then
human doesn't entail human life.
No, I know, but I'm saying
life is just a particular quality in which humans have, but sentience could also be the quality that we care about. So familiar bot, I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much. Sure. You know what? In many scenarios, you might say that's the case. I don't know. I think that most of the value comes from the sentience, and then we grant a bit more value because of the human aspect. And then we probably would grant that to other rational like species, or species in which have other rational like species, individuals. Just because we feel like we want to apply it to that species. That's really all it is. I mean, it's like even if there was a part of that species that didn't meet the criteria of being rational, we'd still value it, right?
So I feel like if these are persons, right, my stance would lead to less harm than your stance.
No. My stance would lead to less harm because there would be less individuals that are forced to go through pregnancies unwillingly, under my view, with non-sentient fetuses. Because again, the non-sentient fetus can't experience harm. The non-sentient fetus can't experience harm. The only one that would be experiencing harm would be the pregnant individual, right? So there would be on the cost-benefit analysis, really we'd only be losing out by saying that you can't get an abortion. Also, you'd have to concede to the idea that IUDs are murder. Like,
no. IUDs they prevent fertilization, correct?
So certain IUDs, not only can they prevent fertilization, but they can prevent implantation. So the
ones that prevent implantation is murder. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would consider that person who has an IUD should go to jail.
Well, I would say that we there's different how would I say this? There's different punishments for different, there's every crime, especially a murder, has I don't know. I feel like the resulting punishment from this doesn't really change what it is. Right? Like we can still identify what it is without pinpointing a particular punishment on it.
Sure. You can identify. Yeah, you can identify what it is without putting a particular punishment on it. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, even if we don't know exactly what punishment we would give to those women or the doctor that does it, right?
Wait, wouldn't it be the same for other cases of murder? Because I mean, it's still classifying under murder. I don't think there's any murder that you'd be like, okay, yeah, we're just gonna not give them that much of a sentence, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like because of our social, our society right now, since abortion's such an accepted thing, we have to be it'd be harder to place a punishment like that right now than I think it would take time to once we develop a society where we accept that yes, that is murder right there, then yes, I would say we put that woman in jail. But I'm saying as of right now,
so would you not put a slave owner in jail?
Right now?
When it was normal to own slaves?
No, yeah, you're right. I guess I would. I mean, but the thing is, even if you say that, even if I do concede and say, yeah, that woman should go to jail for murdering her child, right? That doesn't really refute what I think it is. That's
it doesn't refute anything. Just the idea that in which you send them to jail for a long time on this would just be more absurdisms, kind of, to be associated with the view. So again, when we're comparing different views, especially when it relates to the abortion debate, we're essentially saying which view has the least absurd reductios. And typically, you'd probably want to hold to this because of your religious stance. That's what I think the biggest motivation is. But I think that the least absurd reductios would be entailed by my stance.
Okay. It's just if mine are true, if my stance is true, if you grant it that those are persons, I do think you do harm persons by ending their life.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah. Well, I mean, then I wouldn't disagree with you.
That's what I was trying to say by.
Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If I consider them a person, right? Well, then I'm probably going to be in a similar stance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right, but
So
I don't consider them a person. That's my point.
No, I get that. But I'm saying, like, if you did have my stance, if these are persons, it prevents, like, even if these are potentially persons, right? Even if these are potentially
well, no,
persons,
you would care about it just because of the reductios that if you didn't care about it. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't care about it, then you'd say it's okay to kill other human people. You know, like that's an absurd view, right? Because you wouldn't be able to make a differentiation between the relevant, morally relevant difference between it at that point and any other point in human life, based upon that standard, right? But based upon my standard, you can make a morally relevant difference between the zygote or between the embryo and like a newborn baby or like me and you, right? And that morally relevant difference is the sentience. My question. So let's say that there are embryos, frozen embryos that are about to be placed into, and they're about to be put in a surrogate, all right, and they're going to become human beings like me and you in the future, right? There's 3 of them on one side of the burning building, and then on the other side of the burning building, there is one newborn baby, right? You can either save the newborn baby or the 3 frozen embryos that in the future will be 3 human beings. Which one would you save?
Well, I consider them all to be human beings. So under that premise, I would say the 3 zygotes.
Well, I mean, I said embryos, but I mean, zygotes, embryos, same thing. So you would save the zygotes, even though there's a newborn baby that would experience it, that would be crying, that would be burning alive.
Yeah, I guess there would be more cruelty involved, but with that,
like significantly more cruelty.
As far as their value, they have the 3. I would say 3 would have. I would save the 3. I guess. I don't know. That's kind of a.
I know it's like an absurd reductio. I mean, you did hold to the view consistently based upon your reasoning, but that is an absurdism that you'd hold to, and that's like would give me like sort of like evidentiary reason against that in terms of my intuitions.
Okay, so like, what if I were to say these are potentially persons, right? Like my view, there's a lot of people that hold my view, correct? Like, so I would say there is a potentiality that these embryos that I hold to be valuable are persons. So I would say if these potentially are persons, I would err on the side that these are persons, and therefore you can't unalive a person because you're the result of that.
Under my definition, they're not potentially persons. Under your definition, they are persons. Under any definition, if we're just talking about a definition, then potentially it is, but potentially it's also not, right?
Okay, yeah. I would just say that it doesn't really make sense to have sentience make up most of the argument for you because you can't really distinguish like what makes this human sentience more valuable than, say, a animal sentience. Like,
you can say the same thing about life, right? Like, you care about life. You can't distinguish what makes human life more valuable than plant life.
I can't?
No.
I can, because I would say we're of a kind that's rational.
Wait, that's not in terms of life, though.
What do you mean?
You appealed to some other quality. It's rational. But then I can just give you a scenario. Well, then if we just want to talk about life, well, then you also can't in terms of other animal lives, right? Like they would have the same qualities. Like they would, let's say like there's a human being that is of the same intelligence level, of same conceptualization of a different type of animal, right? They're both alive.
No,
right?
But that's
would you save the human or would you save the animal?
No, see, you're misunderstanding my definition. I'm saying they're a member of a rational kind. It doesn't mean they have the immediate capability. It's like if I had the immediate capability to speak English, but I also have the potential.
The member of a rational kind. That's just the same thing as me. You're making a species-based argument. You're not giving a quality that's applicable in all scenarios. And Spunky, what's good? How you doing? Miss Fulbright, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you.
What do you mean? Like I'm saying that like humans have inherent value because we can become moral agents, right? And we're ordered towards rationality. And I would say being of that kind makes you more valuable than non-rational kinds.
Sure. Being of a rational kind makes you more valuable than not being of a rational kind. So let's say that there's 2 beings in which, or actually let's say that there's a being that's more rational, right, than human beings, right? Like it's Superman, Okay, but none of the other Kryptonians are rational. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you rather save a brain dead human, right, or Superman?
A brain dead human or Superman? Well, under that definition, or in that scenario, the brain dead individual no longer has the potential for future subjective experience.
Okay, we'll give a separate scenario then. Let's say like someone who's at the intelligence, like some human that's sentient but is at the intelligence level of a
I didn't
of a like squirrel or something.
I didn't necessarily.
Right, they're at the sensing capacities of a squirrel.
Yeah. So what I was saying is they don't have to have the immediate capability. First off, it's not just intelligence. I would say it is intelligence because rationale, but it's the fact that we are moral agents, right? Like, say if there's a Superman, he would be a moral agent as well. So I would say because you're a moral agent, you are valuable.
Okay.
Not necessarily the level of rationality, just that you are of that kind.
So now what grants the value is the moral agency, and I agree, moral agency grants value. I 100% agree, right? But it's not a universal standard for value, right? Because there are gonna be some beings that don't have moral agency that I still value.
No, yeah, same. So do I. I just think they have a different level of value.
But we didn't give a morally relevant quality that's always true in humans. That's not always true in other beings. That always means that we should pick humans over other types of species.
Yes, the quality is that we are of a rational kind. We're ordered towards rationality. So it's like
that means that but that's not a quality that we have. That's just we're a part of a species. So the species, so you're okay. So maybe your argument for the species is that we're of a rational kind. Well, can I just say the same thing?
What?
We're of a rational kind. I care about the human species because we're of a rational kind. That's an argument for the speciesism. That's not an argument for why you wouldn't hold the speciesism and why it's instead embedded in some characteristic. Yo, Artemis, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it, Artemis. Thank you so much.
Could you explain that again? I didn't.
So it's not embedded in the characteristic. It's you're making an argument for the species.
Yeah, but that's what qualifies being a person.
But when they don't have this quality, they still are valuable because of the species aspect. It's not because they have this quality. It's because they're a part of the species.
Yeah, they're a part of a species that is ordered towards rationality. Yes,
it typically has that quality.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that's not a specific quality that differentiates them, right? That they have. Right? They are just a part of the species that typically has that quality.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's still the species aspect. So that's no different than my view.
Yeah, but I'm saying that's what makes a person, and you can't unalive a person, right? But you have a different standard.
What makes a person for you is the human life aspect and the fact that they're human. Yeah, I appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much, Beth Myers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but
for
also
me, it's the subjective experience.
But also the potential. But also the potential for subjective experience, right? Because like like the potential for subjective experience. Yeah, I would say that.
Just the potential.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, let's say that let's say that there's I guess a set of a contraption. Have I brought up the contraption?
No,
point?
Yeah, you brought this up, but like I said, but mine, I said it was a conjunction. Mine's also a conjunction, right? Yours is a conjunction.
So life needs to be established. Okay, so yeah, then that wouldn't be. So it's both. So again, my point would just be questioning like why life, and like I'm just gonna be like, okay, you're gonna lead to more absurd reductios because you have to take care of non-sentient fetuses, which causes harm to pregnant individual, but does not cause harm to the fetus.
Yeah, but I would say that like you could say it leads to more absurdities, but based on my view, you would lead to more absurdities as well. Like you would lead to more absurdities because these are persons in my view. Therefore, unaliving a person does harm. Right? Like I'm
but the absurdism is under your own view. It's an internal critique, not from my perspective.
So under my own view, it's more absurd that it's more absurd to
given your own definitions. Like for example,
yeah.
Like if someone considers it murder, right? But they think it should be legal. Well, legalized murder in and of itself is like an absurd reductio under their own notion.
Yes,
it's not just my notion of absurd, right? We can use multiple different definitions of absurd. There's kind of three that I typically go off of. One is that I just consider it crazy, right? Just me specifically. Second one is that most people, right, consider it crazy, right? Then the third one is that they consider it crazy.
Okay.
And I can use those three different notions of absurdity to change someone's perspective. Their notion of absurdity might be relevant many times for me trying to change their own perspective. It might be even the most able to change their position. Whereas if we look at like the chat, right, that might be in the case where they're not able to move, yet we want to move people in the chat. Whereas with me, that's just going to be like what I view in my own perspective. Be like, oh, am I going to engage with this person or not? Kind of.
Yeah, so you said under my own view, it would lead to more absurdities?
Yeah, like under your own definitions of terms.
But why?
Right, because you would agree that here we have to classify what our notion of harm is. Because earlier we brought up like harm, but the way that we refer to harm was different than kind of the way that I'm referring to it now. So there's no pain that's going to be perceived under the context of this embryo or zygote, right? They don't experience anything bad. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you value humans over animals based upon the fact that they experience more, they have greater sensations, right? Well, then wouldn't you do that in the basis of humans when you compare, again, them to us in the future?
Yeah. So what qualifies their value is that they're of this kind, right? That's what I've established.
So if they're of the kind, they're of equal value no matter what.
Well, it depends on, as far as life, yeah. As far as like who you can unalive and what you can't and can unalive, yes. Like I think that's the question that we should be asking. What can we unalive and what can't we? Like under my view, all of these persons can't be unalived unless, I'm not really for the capital punishment, but
4% of people in death are innocent.
And then, the thing is, like you said, because they can't perceive it, but like, what if someone's unconscious and then I kill them or unalive them? Sorry, they can't perceive that pain at the moment, but it's still wrong, right? Like someone's still been harmed.
Oh no, I agree, but there would be no entity that existed prior and in the future that would have been able to have some sort of notion of they perceived and then they lost that type of perception. Does that make sense? There would be that consideration.
Yeah, I don't could you
also we're taking this into account in the context of the cost benefit analysis. We're saying it's permissible for this action to be targeted towards this entity because of the harm that's attributed within the context of the pregnancy.
Okay. But I'm saying is if I believe they're persons, right, I would think it's more absurd to have a woman go through pregnancy, 9 months of temporary pain versus unaliving a human being, a person, right?
Wait, temporary pain. So, do you think that someone who's raped should be able to get an abortion?
Legally, I don't know. That one's confusing for me because morally, I don't think that you help rape by unaliving a human being that hadn't done anything wrong. That's vulnerable. Like you don't unalive a vulnerable being because someone was raped.
Well, then I can just give you the reductio I gave the other person. Like a 9-year-old gets pregnant, medically can go through pregnancy. Should she be forced?
Should she be forced
to go through the pregnancy?
Yeah, I would say you don't help that vulnerable. You don't help that vulnerable 9-year-old unless her health is threatened. Like, if her health's threatened, though, we're talking about two vulnerable beings that both have their life in danger.
Yeah, this is an absurd reductio.
Why is it absurd?
It's a 9-year-old.
So if the 9-year-old is going to have no complications or anything,
that's a 4th grader.
Hold on. If the 4th grader is going to have no complications or anything, right?
They can get an abortion. Yeah. I don't think that they're old enough to be able to cause the pregnancy. And I don't think that you have an obligation to sustain the pregnancy unless you cause it. And they're sentient, of course.
Yeah, I would just disagree. I would say there's an.
You would say the 9-year-old is forced to go through pregnancy. You know, not even double digits. Like
I would say
that's like.
I would say if the 9-year-old's health isn't threatened, right? I would say you don't help that pregnancy that 9-year-old by unaliving her child. That's what I would say. That's not absurd to me.
Well, I think you can absolutely. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Because they can go through lots of harm. They might not die from it, but what about harm, mental health, and physical harm? Yeah. There's lots of physical harm they're going to go through.
Okay, but then you say mental health, but that leads to a slippery slope. Like, what do we classify as mental health then? Like, can we just unalive things because our health or mental health isn't good?
Well, no, it's because we're just classifying mental health as a harm.
Yeah. So let's weigh the harms, right?
Yeah. Well, again, they can't experience harms because they're not sentient.
Okay, like
and
I said,
also again,
can a person
they didn't cause this state of affairs either. If someone just like threw a baby, right, and the baby attached itself to you, right, through that throwing, right, and then they just like cease to exist. Okay, would you be forced to give them your bodily resources legally under your worldview?
I would
for
say
9 months.
Forced.
For 9 months.
Yeah, but I would say I would. But the thing is, But
do you think people should be legally forced?
I think the thing that's missed with this like whole I can't say it, violinist attached to you or whatever. That analogy is like, this is a mother and her child, right? It's not like a complete stranger.
Okay. So just because they're offspring?
Yeah, I would say there's an inherent value, or there's an inherent bond.
Okay, so like if someone
there's a parental obligation inherently between a mother and
just
child.
because of DNA.
What do you mean DNA? I would say it's her offspring.
Yeah,
that's DNA.
That's just DNA. Yeah, that's how you attribute it to be the offspring.
Okay, that's how you classify it to be.
Yeah, the offspring would just be classified through DNA, right? Appreciate the subscription. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Sure. Like let's say I do say, yeah, just the DNA. Yep.
Yeah, no, my point would just be that like as it relates to the DNA, I just don't see that as a relevant quality, but you would see it as a relevant quality, sure. If we want to relate to the DNA though. So you're saying that if it is the case that say someone's a surrogate, right? And they like the people who signed the papers, right, died.
Okay.
Right? There's no one to back up the signing of the papers. Kate, I appreciate the $4. Thank you so much. And they are pregnant with the other individual's child, right? Not theirs, DNA speaking. Okay. Can they get an abortion?
I would say no.
But it's not their child.
No, you can't unalive a vulnerable person.
Okay, so someone throws a baby.
This is an act of
someone. Okay, go ahead.
There's a difference between the moral agent of harm and like just like naturally letting, like, this is not like you're being the moral agent of harm when you're going in there and you're ending a fetus's life, right? Like that's different.
Okay, so someone
also, like if I see a kid drowning, right? If I see a kid drowning, I think this is an analogy by, I don't know who used this. Was it Peter Singer? I don't know. But like the kid drowning analogy, right? And I'm like, I don't want to go into that pond because I'm going to get my shoes dirty or something, right? Or even if I go as far to say, like, I see a kid drowning in a pool, but I'm like, this is going to cause me a lot of mental trauma if I go and save this kid from the pool, but I'm not going to die. I would say you have an obligation to save that kid from the pool.
So you just say you're morally obligated, even though they're, well, I mean, if you don't have to give up much. Well, yeah, sure. Like, I mean, I could say you're morally obligated if you don't have to give up much,
Yeah,
if you have to give up your bodily
but then
resources for, but if you have to give up your bodily resources for like months at a time, then I probably would care, right?
Yeah, but that's not much compared to a life, is what I'm saying. Like under my view,
I mean, I would dispute that, right?
Why?
Right, because I mean, it's non-sentient, right? It's a non-sentient life.
Okay, but
so I don't think it's enough for it to be non-sentient.
We're talking about absurdities under my worldview, right?
Well, we could talk about that, but that would just be my consideration.
Okay, sorry. I thought we were talking
Yeah, no, we were earlier, but we kind of moved off that.
Okay, because you were hammering like under my worldview. I thought that's what we were talking about this whole time. That's what
I would say I'm not convinced under your worldview that you would lead to own absurdities under your own notion, but it would lead to more absurdities under my notion and the chat's notion for sure, and probably the average person's notion. But
my worldview,
yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think not. Maybe what 60%, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think that even pro-lifers might disagree with like the stance that you have. Like a lot of pro-lifers, most pro-lifers, I feel like do kind of make exceptions for stuff like that. That's just my view.
Okay, and we were trying, but
they're all preference based fundamentally. Like I can give contradictions with most people's views as it relates to pro-life, pro-choice, stuff like that. But when you get to people who more or less will have views that are set up, like the life, future sentience, stuff like go as all in, thought this through, you're going to come to a point where both of you are going to have consistent views, right? But one's just going to have, you're just going to compare based upon the reductios. That's it.
Yeah, I would see. I just think the more like with your view, I think the more coherent view, like I think it could be slightly like I think it's almost the most coherent pro-choice view, but well, it might be. But I brought this up before, but I think Peter Singer's argument is the most coherent because it's like the thing that because he says the rationale, like our rationale, our display of rationale is what distinguishes us from animals.
Our species, yeah.
So again, he thinks immediate capability. He thinks immediate capability. So he thinks he believes as soon as you become rational, that's when you become a person. But it's the most coherent. It leads to a lot of disgusting things.
Oh yeah, that's a wild view.
It is wild, but it's the most coherent because it's like, yeah, that's what distinguishes us from animals. Because really before that, like now we just point to the more absurdities on either side. Like, is that how you go?
That's all it is. Yeah, that's all this conversation ends with. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Well, I'm gonna hop off. It's good talking to you again.
It's good talking to you, woman.
I'll see you later.
Peace out. Peace out. All right, everyone. I think I might just end it here. We are over 5 hours and 30 minutes for today, so I think that we're fine. It's about 7:30, so yeah, I'm probably gonna end it right now because it's my girlfriend's gonna be here very soon. But yeah, no, I appreciate everyone for coming on. Have a fantastic night, everyone. Tomorrow I will be on at my normal time, probably. Actually, I'll probably be on like 12 or something tomorrow. 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is when I will be live. I forgot. It's not a.m. 12 p.m. Not that'd be midnight. That'd be crazy. Girlfriend? Yeah, I have a girlfriend. Is there someone I should raid right now? Is there anyone I could raid right now that y'all would like me to? Is AJ live or something? Is AJ live? I think we can go help out AJ. All right, everyone. Let's go to AJ's live right now. Look up Paid by Pfizer. Spam Parker raid. Spam love from Parker. Everyone look up Paid by Pfizer. Spam Parker raid. Spam love from Parker. I love everyone so much. Have a fantastic night, everyone. And peace out, y'all. Look up Paid by Pfizer. Spam Parker raid. Spam love from Parker, y'all. Paid by Pfizer, y'all.
Societal thing. Because it's a societal thing. What?
And because remember you made your argument about the guy selling the orange